BigLou.com/free.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-555-2085. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-555-2085 or BigLou.com.
Not another one.
26-year-old male, wasn't wearing a seatbelt.
How's the driver in the other vehicle?
Yeah, thankfully she's okay. She had her seatbelt on.
It's really sad. You know, these tragedies are entirely preventable.
It said click it or ticket, but for some, they should be so lucky. Besides getting a ticket or a fine, the consequences could take your life. So don't risk it. Click it or ticket. This message is brought to you by NHTSA.
Screen time's over.
Be home by 11?
Put your phone down while we're eating.
When parents set boundaries, keep track of where their kids go, and talk to them about the dangers of underage drinking and drugs, they keep their kids safe. Visit TalkNowAZ.com. Be the influence. Talk early. Talk often. Talk now.
Thanks. Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
This message is sponsored by Substance Awareness Coalition Leaders of Arizona.
My pain is considerable, but that prescription is dangerous.
The side effects of my medicine are worse than my condition.
I'm in recovery. I can't take those pills.
When faced with a health crisis, you shouldn't have to choose between risks.
At the Naturopathic Physicians Group in Scottsdale, our naturopathic doctors are experts in full spectrum care using a natural approach. Patients come in for a variety of issues, including joint pain, chronic conditions, and issues specific to men's and women's health. Our naturopathic doctors can restore pain-free joint function and restore balance in immune, digestive, and hormone systems, which often improves immediate physical symptoms without having you take a bunch of pills. If traditional medicines aren't working, don't you think it's time to start feeling like yourself again? Call Naturopathic Physicians Group at 480-451-6161. That's 480-451-6161. Or go to naturopathicgroup.com.
KQFN Tempe. Also transmitting on K257CD Phoenix at 99.3 FM and K240 EU Mountain Hills at 95.9 FM. Wherever you go, take us along. Listen to our live stream on our free Fanatic app. Download it today.
Quiet, people, settle down.
Because it's time. For what?
Showtime.
When does it start?
Right now. 3, 2, 1.
Let's get on with the show. Let's do it.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another fine edition of the Daily Blender. I am Philip Amrine, sitting along. Well, I guess I'm more so standing, but I'm standing alongside Triple H over there, Mr. Harrison Hicks.
That's right.
Yes. So our evil plan has succeeded.
Yes.
We have gotten the beloved Jeffrey O'Brien and the legendary Randy White to go on a little vacation together. I wonder if it has anything to do with National Vanilla Pudding Day, which is today.
Ooh, I know Randy loves that.
See, I wouldn't put that upon him. I would not.
Oh, man, I know Randy loves him some vanilla pudding. So it might be, honestly, he could. Or perhaps they got a little bit too caught up in Jeffrey's whiskey wisdom. Maybe Randy joined him.
Yes.
You know, that's my thought. But
see, here's my thing is that I feel like vanilla pudding is the thing that you have to age into, right? So I think there are a few things that you age into at different ages.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you're born, I do not think anybody is born to like sushi. Like, I think that is something that you have to be into. Yeah, you have to be into it on a date. and a person that is across from you that you find very attractive, says, "Hey, I could go for some sushi."
Which Phil, we've been here before. We've been on plethora of dates.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
in
many.
abundance. Just don't tell my girlfriend. Yes, no, I think that it is one of those things that you age into because somebody ushered you into vanilla pudding.
Yeah,
I'm not a big fan. Like at least vanilla chocolate
Okay.
pudding. Now that is the stuff of kids' legends.
Now I'm just glad Randy's not on the show because Randy would he'd probably tackle you. He might kill you.
He might. Yeah. So well, I wasn't the one who said he loved it. You did. All right.
Yeah.
Here we go. So welcome everybody to the Daily Blender. Of course, as you know, the text line is open 888 what is the number?
368-1580.
Thank you. 888.
Anytime, Phil.
Every time. Let's go to said text line with a bunch of people saying that yesterday was a very sad day, that the Blender wasn't on in any capacity. The Berg saying the B team, suck it, Phil. Amen to the Berg. Mr. Wilbur, who is a Hall of Fame texter, of course.
That's right.
Is this a vacation where Randy and Jeffrey wear a Speedo 24/7 together at all times? I don't know, Mr. Wilbur. I don't think so. I don't think that they're that close on vacation.
Oh, well, I don't know because, man, Whiskey Wisdom can do things to you, Phil.
Yes.
Like you never know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hefty Lefty on the text line joining in. Hello, welcome. He says, get your y'alls, honestly, and fun facts in, Harris. This is your chance.
Right. This is my chance.
I do not
evil
own a whistle
takeover.
on my person right now, so I cannot put you in timeout.
Yep.
and
Guess who owns the whistle?
Oh, yes.
That's
Yes,
right.
that's right. And Phil, Japan would beg to differ on growing into liking sushi. Possibly, but even then, I feel like that is forced onto you. Like the child, before they even know what they're doing, they are now eating sushi.
I think that's a good take, Phil. Honestly, because I got to get the honestly's in too. I don't love sushi at the moment. I'm indifferent on it, but maybe I'm just still growing into it.
Yeah, you just got to mature that.
I just got to mature. I haven't quite reached that level of maturity that you have yet.
Absolutely. And last one here, Diamondback Dude says, I think this is my worst nightmare come true. Phil and Harris alone on the show with no adult supervision. My goodness. Get ready for all the LeBron, Lakers, Dodgers, and Tennessee talk. Absolutely. Well,
I'm so pumped.
Speaking of those Dodgers.
Yes.
Dodgers have taken the series. Last time that they came, we faced off against them as Diamondbacks, the series was split. This time we know for sure that the Diamondbacks are going to win the series with them beating the Diamondbacks back-to-back games. The last game felt like out of desperation. And to be quite honest, for the majority of this game, Harris, the Diamondbacks had felt like they were in control based off of Ketel Marte's home run.
Yeah.
But the Dodgers score 3 runs in the 6th.
Today and yesterday, we thought the Diamondbacks had it, and then they didn't for different reasons. Corbin Burns was just, Randy might kill me for this and light me on fire, but I think Corbin Burns could have been left too much in the game. You could have taken him out after inning 5, but that didn't happen. And so inning 6 was sort of an implosion. Goes against what Randy's been saying. He believes that pitchers should be left in for a longer amount of time, basically, just to catch you up on that. But
they should be playing full games, pitch till your arm falls off.
Yep. Pitch like 300 innings like they do in Japan.
Amen.
So anyway, what happened was that was an implosion from the starter. Yesterday, 2 days ago, was just your classic Arizona Diamondbacks game. The bullpen completely exploded. Shelby Miller in the 9th. Oh, and he's been so good all year. You know, Phil, it makes me ask a lot of questions because this Diamondbacks roster is one of the most expensive Diamondbacks rosters. It might be the most expensive roster in like 15 years for them.
Yes.
This is a top 12 highest paid roster in the MLB. And Kendrick had a reputation of being cheap, not spending a lot of money. When he went after Corbin Burns, he disputed that. So the Diamondbacks, they're paying to play, man. Like they're here. We're going to win now. And right now, they're missing a closer. And it makes me ask questions. What are the Diamondbacks going to do about that?
Well, one would think that they'd address it during mid-season trades, but that is the hardest thing to acquire. Pitching is always the hardest thing to acquire, especially in the bullpen, where you're looking for closers. Everybody's looking for that. Like very rarely are teams selling that. Even the bad teams, like what you're going to get Paul Skeens in the middle of the season? No,
No.
nobody's going to be giving you that.
No.
So it's hard. You gotta make a diamond out of somebody else's trash and treasure.
Yep. And honestly, okay, so an interesting stat here. The Diamondbacks, 10 blown saves this season, Phil.
10.
10.
My God.
Second highest in the MLB, only behind the Red Sox with 11.
Mm.
So if you take out, let's say you take out half of those blown saves, man, the Diamondbacks are what? Doing some quick math here, 31-19. They're right up there with the Dodgers and the Padres and the Giants, but they aren't. Why? Because of this. So the Diamondbacks front office has to ask themselves, okay, we've got a really good lineup right now. They're 5th in the MLB in runs per game.
Mm-hmm.
They are generating runs. The pitching, starting pitching, has not been there, but it's getting a little bit better. Corbin Burns, regardless of what happened in the 6th, he gave up, I think, 4 hits in 7 innings. That's phenomenal. He pitched a great inning. So honestly, you have to ask yourselves, what's holding us back? If you're the Diamondbacks front office, and this is what's holding them back.
And it's not even the defense. The defense, I think, is pretty solid.
Fielding's
as well.
great.
Fielding's great. Hitting's fine. It's going to be the pitching. And I don't know. We've talked about this earlier. I think where I'm most depressed, where I am most morose this morning, if I was a Diamondbacks fan, is that this was a Dodgers team that had every reason to lose this series to you. Like, I think had the Diamondbacks even won 2, lost 1 in there, it still kind of would have felt like a missed opportunity. But as it currently stands, that you're going into game 3, having already lost the first 2, the Dodgers get to quote unquote right the ship. The Dodgers get to come in the middle of a pitching fiasco themselves that they are currently in. It just feels like a wasted opportunity on the part of the Diamondbacks to take full advantage of a game that now brings you much closer to 50-50 ball, where they're now 26-24 on the season. Dodgers now get to pull back ahead and going to 31-19. And it's just, it's hard. It's a hard pill to swallow, honestly, that you had such an advantage to take hold of. And they just squandered it away. And in key pivotal moments in both of these games so far, you actually even had competitive games against the Dodgers. You had leads in both games and you go and blow it. It's just awful.
Yeah. So like I said before, Phil, 31-19 that the Dodgers are, you cut the Diamondbacks blown saves in half, like not even take them away. Like you just put them close to the mean of the league. They're 31-19, the same exact record as the LA Dodgers. So I looked at some possible trade candidates for the Diamondbacks and wanted to present them to the 4th dimension to see what you guys would think. So obviously what the Diamondbacks need most is a closer. That has grown evident.
Yes.
Kyle Finnegan from the Nationals is a good one. 2.7 ERA, 14 saves and 16 opportunities. He's 2nd in the MLB in saves, I think, these last 2 years, only behind Emmanuel Clase. You could go get Kenley Jansen. You could.
The ghost of Kenley Jansen, wherever he is. I think he packed up a little hobo bag, like where they have the stick and the little handkerchief in the back.
In SpongeBob.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Kenley Jansen. SpongeBob. My goodness, what an age. He is just roaming around the country, closing games wherever he may be, playing California Love wherever he may go. My God, Kenley Jansen, what a throwback.
Yep. So that could be one. You could go get Jose Leclerc. He's been in a lot of big moments. He's on that Rangers team that won the World Series. Felix Bautista is definitely one for the Orioles. Throws 100-mile-per-hour fastball.
Are the Orioles sellers?
The Orioles are 15-31.
No, I know the record says they are, but going into the year, part of the reason why you fire a manager this far into the season is that you're hoping that it turns around, right? Like you hope that you get a reverse of their current standing, so that way you can even out and then possibly get into the playoffs. We'll see if they're on their continued projection. We will see whether or not that they still remain to be as bad as they are. And certainly, Harris, the fact that you're going to the Orioles pitching as a rescue line for the Arizona Diamondbacks is certainly
that's a code red.
Yeah, it's certainly not heartening. Let's go to the text line here. Big George is on the text line. He says, "Hello, gentlemen," and he's got
Hello, Big George.
Yes, he says, "Happy Tri-Tip Thursday." And then Shelby Miller blew that game again. Shocker. Shelby Miller blowing games like he did 10 years ago when we first traded for him, when we gave Dansby Swanson away. Yesterday's game, I cannot be too upset because Corbin Burns pitched great. He had one bad pitch. He gave up to Teoscar Hernandez. Tuesday, we should have won. Darn you, Shelby Miller. I can't disagree with anything that Big
Yep.
George said. Very,
Yep.
very astute over there.
Can't disagree, Phil.
Chief Skull, the D-backs pitching for the bullpen is due to injury and gross mismanagement of pitchers by coaches in general.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly. Oh, I need to quit saying that word. Now, since the fourth dimension called me out on it, I have been like aware of some of my habits. They said I say y'all too much. Too.
Yeah, the fourth dimension is avidly aware, listening, and always going to make sure that you are minding your gosh darn P's and Q's because they will hear everything and everything.
They're like wolves, Phil.
Yes, but etiquette wolves. We love them.
Yeah, we do.
Diamondback dude, of course, trying to make the best out of a bad situation, saying it could be worse. We could be the Padres, who just got swept by the Blue Jays in Toronto and by the Seattle Mariners. 6-game losing streak for them.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess a little schadenfreude is always in order and makes you feel a little bit better.
Yeah, their pitching was bound to chill. I mean, their ERA was insane. Tatis was playing at such a astronomical pace. It was bound to go down to reality just a little bit, Phil. So I get that.
Firefarter on the text line
Hello,
saying
Firefarter.
Kenley Jansen is still a good closer. I would lean more that way. Absolutely. He's with the Angels.
Yep.
I doubt they will give him up. Yeah, the Angels are another team where you look at their record and it says that they'll be willing to give up stuff, but like, on the
What do they have to
lone bright spots of their team, do you really just sell everything and just have
And get
that?
prospects and equip for the future.
And Walter Mellon has a question for you here, Harris. He
Okay.
says, the question is, who do you trade away to get a closer? Like what on earth could the Diamondbacks give away that won't be to a detriment of this current team?
That's a good question, Walter Mellon. I was thinking about that. Guys who are not equipped to help you win now, but have a lot of value. You could think of Jordan Lawler, possibly. You could think of Drew Jones. The Diamondbacks have a great farm system. And there are those two among many others that they could be giving up. So probably one of those, someone in the farm system, Walter Mellon.
Yes, absolutely. And finally, we'll close out the text line here. As a Lakers fan, says Hefty Lefty,
Okay.
may I speak for the team and offer the Diamondbacks Bronny James as a closer. He might not be good, but gosh darn it, he will try his best.
Oh, that's hilarious.
You know who's going to veto that trade? It's
Who?
not the Diamondbacks, and it's not the Lakers.
LeBron.
It's LeBron.
It's
will, yeah.
LeBron James.
Yeah,
He'll
absolutely.
veto it. Yeah.
You know what? Can I say, as a complete aside, and for just a random tangent that brings to a sports take,
Say it, Phil.
I have this dream, Harris. I have this love and appreciation for LeBron James. I grew up on him and all.
Oh
this
yeah,
stuff.
you're a bronze sexual, clinically diagnosed.
Yeah, the fourth dimension knows this. They make fun of me for it. Whatever, what have you? They are just in pure denial. That being said, what I do enjoy is a good story off of LeBron James, and I want him to go back to Cleveland. Great story. They lost in the second round, completely underachieving. What do they need? They have a need at the small forward position that can come in, and they can have a team that can go through the entire regular season without him if needed, and give him some rest. Oh my gosh! But you know what? I don't think it's going to happen because of Bronny James. Like Bronny James exists.
That might actually happen. Yeah.
Yeah, it just means that you can't trade LeBron James. He has to go there on a veteran's minimum. And what would the Cleveland Cavaliers be like? I guess we'll trade you a 2030 second round draft pick for Bronny James. Like, it's just so, like, the Bronny James of it all is actually what kind of kills my dream of that ever actually happening.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you see LeBron James? I got a question for you.
Yeah, please.
Having like a Kobe retirement tour. Do you think that happens?
I unfortunately do. See, LeBron James is nothing if not public. I do enjoy LeBron James.
And
on
you
the
love
court.
it. You soak it up like Randy and banana pudding. Like you love it.
Banana pudding. It's vanilla pudding. How dare you, Day? It's vanilla pudding. No, I
Or
do
both.
enjoy the publicity that comes along with LeBron James. Sometimes I think he's stepped in it a little bit to where he says, we're top heavy as bleep, and he'll make snide little comments about his own roster that I'm like, you haven't traded him yet. You might want to keep the harmony
He's
going.
made some when he was on McAfee and he made that comment about that 07 Cavs team. Like, look at my roster. I'm like, look, man, like, okay, but we all know that. That's not very nice.
That's like
to your
retirement
teammates.
speech.
Yeah.
I can appreciate
You're
it, but
still in it.
yeah, absolutely. Well, the great thing about that, though, is that he can actually speak on guys that are already retired because he's lived like 3 sports careers already.
Oh, literally. Yeah. Yeah, he has.
All right. Moist one on the text line. Excuse me. My darling Phil is large and in charge. Absolutely. Moist one, once again, coming in with a rabid comment that makes everybody just a little uncomfortable.
Just a little bit. It's his specialty. Everyone's got that niche in life.
So
That's
as
his.
we go to the Diamondbacks, and we close out the Diamondbacks and the depression that was
Yes.
last night, Harris, do you think the Diamondbacks, coming out of this series with the Dodgers,
Yes, Phil.
do you feel better about their chances about playing against the Dodgers? Because I feel, as off the last series where
Okay.
we tied 2-2,
Mhm.
and that was a much closer to full strength Dodgers team that we saw earlier, slightly earlier in the season,
Yeah.
as opposed to now with their pitching conundrums on the part of the Dodgers.
Yep.
I felt a little reassured coming off
Mhm.
that, to where, hey, we can draw them to a stalemate. You know, it's kind of like the Nuggets trying to get the Oklahoma City Thunder to a game 7. Like, you just hope to get there, to get to one game 7, to where it's like, maybe we can have the tides turn in our favor. And on game 7, you look towards the Dodgers, and if the Diamondbacks were to meet them in the postseason, maybe just get them to that one game playoff,
Mhm.
whatever
Mhm.
format that is, whether it's in the opening round, whether or not it's in a game 7 in the conference finals, whatever that may be. So I felt like reassured. Now, currently, off of this series, and I know it's going to be, going back and forth for each series.
Yeah.
Do you feel at all reassured with what you saw coming off of last night and knowing that we're going to lose this series?
Well, you're putting a positive spin on it, and I like it because I think there is some merit to that claim, Phil. And that is the Diamondbacks did take him to the brink. They really did. If it weren't for a slight bullpen collapse and obviously what happened yesterday with Corbin Burns, the Diamondbacks win this series. So what this taught us is that, yes, they are a tier below the Dodgers, but it might be closer than we thought. The Diamondbacks, this might be, sometimes you need that light bulb or that reminder in life that says, oh, I need to change this, and this is how. That light bulb moment. This could be that light bulb moment for the Diamondbacks to go get a closer. And if they do, I think they're right there, man.
Yeah, but Harris, the thing about light bulbs is that it turns on the light, and then you get to see all the bad stuff. Like there's one thing if you turn on the light and, oh, it's a nice, beautiful mansion. It's another thing if you're in a Motel 6 and you turn on the light and the cockroaches scurry. And I'm afraid we're closer to the Motel 6 than we are the mansion.
That happened when I was in Albuquerque, by the way.
How dare you besmirch the reputation of Albuquerque, New
Oh, the
Mexico.
land of enchantment. I
Yeah.
did not feel enchanted when I was there.
All right. Well, with talk of New Mexico, let's take it to a break. We are nearing at the end of a first segment of the Phil and Harris version of the Daily Blender here on 1580.
Evil takeover.
1580, The Fanatic.
The Daily Blender is streamed live on YouTube. Search 1580 The Fanatic to watch.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
Let's see, if something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it, that sounds like something to look into. And that's MetaShare. Maybe you've heard joining MetaShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month. And that's huge, but it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MetaShare works too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care, whether you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan that you're happy with. Here you go. You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. It's 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE. 855-51-BIBLE.
Not another one.
26-year-old male, wasn't wearing a seatbelt.
How's the driver in the other vehicle?
Yeah, thankfully she's okay. She had her seatbelt on.
It's really sad. These tragedies are entirely preventable.
It said click it or ticket, but for some, they should be so lucky. Besides getting a ticket or a fine, the consequences could take your life. So don't risk it. Click it or ticket. This message is brought to you by NHTSA.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams Memorial Day sale and get 30% off paints and stains May 16th through the 26th. With prices starting at $34.29, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your bedroom, living room, or home office, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Shop the sale online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Your home has gone way up in value, but have you taken advantage of it? This is Rob Canier with a phenomenal opportunity to tap into some of your home equity, earning tax-free income and eliminating your mortgage payment while staying in your home as long as you want. With home prices leveling off, don't wait to learn more about the new reverse mortgage. This is a safe and proven money-saving and tax-free income opportunity for homeowners age 62 and older. Call me, Reverse Rob, and learn more today at 602-REVERSE. That's 602-738-3773, or download my app by searching Retire Right with Reverse Rob.
Mom, where are my keys?
Why do I have to take out the garbage? I'm too sick to go to school. Quit hogging the bathroom.
If you're having a hard time living with all the noise, it's even harder to live without it. One fake fentanyl pill could cost your child their life. Learn how to talk to your kids at talknowaz.com. This message is sponsored by Substance Awareness Coalition Leaders of Arizona.
The Rich Eisen Show.
Derek Carr retires from the National Football League and goes home to his family, and I'm assuming that will be it. Although, I don't know. You never know in these days anymore. I know there's a $10 million bag that he's going to put in his account that the Saints will basically, like a chess move, keep their finger on that piece. But crazier things have happened in the NFL. I have no idea if he's going to sit out a year and then come back. Somebody's going to give him a call when they're going to get desperate.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at 9 a.m. on 1580, The Fanatic.
$15.80, The Fanatic. It is the Daily Blender here, the Youngins edition.
That's right.
With Filthy Phil filling in.
Oh, it's filthy.
And Triple H over there as well. Of course, the text line is still open at 888-368-1580. Make sure to get your text in so you can be a part of the show.
That's right.
Chief Skull putting in his point of view for the Diamondbacks.
Okay.
Says, also, being fifth for run total doesn't matter if we can hold a lead, and when we have decent pitching, we aren't scoring runs. It's time for a new voice coaching the team. Big George will get this team in line or in court. You know what? I think it's very generous of Chief Skull to not nominate himself as the new manager of the Diamondbacks. I think it's very generous of him to say, you know what, Big George will be the guy. And then I think what Chief Skull ultimately wants to do is be the one to call for his head on a pike whenever the Diamondbacks underperform.
Yep. It's a long-term premeditated plan, but it's selfless in the act. Would Big George be the tallest manager in MLB history?
I'm trying. Well, no, it probably if Randy. I'm trying to think. There has to be like a Randy Johnson equivalent because Randy Johnson was a tall guy.
It might be Big George.
Yeah, it might. Yeah, so maybe it is. I'd have to go down the annals of sports history.
You would.
Big George himself is talking also on the text line. You know what would be a better story, Phil? LeBron James and Bronny coming to Phoenix to win the Suns their first ever championship. LeBron would be a hero. You know, I think Randy would lose his ever flipping mind if LeBron James came in because Randy and his ilk.
Mm-hmm.
And the fans who hate LeBron James is who I'm referring to. Hate how apparently LeBron James created the flop. Like LeBron James is the one in sports history who was like, you know what? Forget soccer. Forget James Harden.
It's not true.
Forget Luka Doncic. It's LeBron James who created flopping.
He did not have a good impact on it though, but he did not create it. That was created in Europe. Honestly, the Spurs are the ones that brought that to the NBA.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Manu, yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Commando Duke on the text line says, you can finally read all Moist One text today. The FCC is on vacation.
How does he know that?
No, he does. He's just saying that Jeffrey is normally the one who would monitor and filter out Moist One's unfiltered comments and thoughts. I will try my best to see if I can at least read a little bit of Moist One's, but it might sound like a broken telephone. And it's wet. And then you know, like that'll probably be the full text.
I discovered this, Phil, that Jeffrey is also HR. I just now learned this because anytime
you have an issue, you go to Jeffrey O'Brien for HR. Absolutely.
I imagine Jeffrey just puts on like he's in there in a collared shirt and he's like, oh, let me take you to HR, and then he just comes out in like a different collared shirt.
Moist One on the text line. I think the Diamondbacks have their closer. Just need to let Justin Martinez get healthy. Dude is nasty. I hope for his sake. Moist One means he is nasty as in like his stuff. His stuff is well, even then. I don't think that's one.
Yeah, we don't know what he means. Truly.
Absolutely.
We ever.
Quiet Cannon is on the text line. Good afternoon, Harrison Phil. If you look at the Diamondbacks' lack of timely hitting in the Dodgers series, they left players in scoring position far too many times.
Is this true?
And of course, the last one before we close out the text line for the moment, Sports Girly, my favorite personal texter on the text line, of course.
Okay.
This is my girlfriend, of course.
Oh, is it really?
Yes, it is. Please don't read anything Moist One texts you, she says. She pleads. Well, every once in a while, Moist One does put out something that is, worth mentioning. Speaking of my girlfriend, you know what it is, Harris?
What is it?
It is graduation season. And do you know how I know this?
How do you know this?
I know this because last night, me and the girlfriend decided to go out on a lovely little date night. We decided to take our talents to the Cheesecake Factory.
To South Beach?
No, not to South Beach. we don't swing that. Like, that is not our level of date night. Just, hey, you know what? Let's get a private jet, and go to South Beach. No. We decided to go to the Cheesecake Factory. And it was at this point in time that I found that there was a line that is longer than the Cheesecake Factory menu for the wait list. Like, everybody and their mother and their grandmother and their second cousin was there trying to get into the gosh darn cheese factory. And trust me, I love a good cheesecake as much as the next guy. But I was like, what is this? What is it? And then all of a sudden I saw it. I saw the robes, the graduation robes from like a couple of people around. And so I was turning to my girlfriend. I was like, we have to avoid this area. Yep. We have to move away.
We need to go to South Beach.
Yeah, we should go to. Yeah, this is the one time that it is merited. So it is graduation season.
Yeah.
I'd say. I know left and right, everybody probably is related to. If you have a kid that and that is graduating currently,
surprisingly, I do not.
Please call this number. Yeah, please call 888-368-1580. But since it is graduation season, I found one of the fun ones because this is the season also where commencement speeches are given, and we get a few fun ones. I personally enjoy. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but if you ever want to actually be inspired and actually go out and chase your dreams, Harris.
Yep.
Go and look at the Jim Carrey commencement speech. I forget where he did it. I
love Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey's fantastic.
You have LeBron James. I have Jim Carrey.
Oh, good for you. Excellent.
Yeah.
All righty then.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So he gives a fantastic commencement speech where no comedy, like a little bit, but like it's baked in there.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. It gives a great story. I found this one this week. Students and graduates of the University of Maryland are going to get a very special guest. Kermit the Frog over there is going to deliver a commencement address at the University of Maryland. I know. So I feel like I'm going to be like the guy who ruins Christmas, and maybe even Easter to all the kids out there. So, hey, Raven Kid, if you're out there, plug in your ears here.
Yep.
But Kermit the Frog isn't real.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So you've gone through a couple of these graduations, Harris. We both
Oh,
went to
yeah.
Walter Cronkite School.
I actually didn't even know you went to the Walter Cronkite School of
Yeah,
Journalism.
yes, you're welcome.
I can
Yes.
sort of, I sense it's like a sixth sense.
It is a sixth sense and a sixth sense as well.
That's right.
But here's the thing: is that these commencement speeches, if it's not yours,
Yeah.
it's freaking awful. It is freaking awful. It is so long, and it
Yeah.
takes forever to get to your one little blip, your
Mhm.
one little person
Mhm.
that you know.
Yeah.
In the entire row of thousands, sometimes of graduates. So my question is for Kermit the Frog, the person who is Kermit the Frog.
Yes.
Are they underneath this table? Are they just underneath this table with their hand cramped? Like, that's got to be a hand cramp because even like a long episode of PBS, if it's all, I guess we're the Muppets. If they're doing a full length feature film,
Yeah.
like at best, I know that they're going to different locations, but if they were to do just a straight up film for the entire 3 hours, that's 3 hours. Like that's not realistic. I'm wondering if we will have to nobody look under the table. There's apple juice, there's gummies and stuff because this guy's going to be exhausted by the time you get to S's in the graduation time.
And does he announce all the names? Does he pour through all the names? Is it him?
He's apparently going to be the one who's handing out graduation degrees. So you will get your graduation degree handed to you, maybe your hand shaken by Kermit the Frog.
You got to think how tall. You got to think of logistics too here, Phil. Is he able to fit on the podium? Because the podium might be too tall. Can you find a podium that short? Can you do that?
The special effects of bringing on Kermit the Frog here has certainly brought along a lot of list of its own questions. And also, since we're both Walter Cronkite graduates,
yes,
I feel like they need to up their budget because I don't know what they got to get Kermit the Frog, but I didn't get. I got like the Dean's List person. I got them, and they got to tell me their sob story, and fantastic, good on them. But I was like, I want Kermit
You
the
were on
Frog.
Dean's List, Bill?
No, well, I hate to brag, so no, I didn't. But but you know what? I'm just curious. Where was
Yeah.
our budget for somebody? Because I've seen a bunch of people have great commencement speakers.
Yeah.
I've heard like Mr. Rogers back in his day
Yeah.
gave a mean commencement speech.
Mm.
Kermit the Frog, Jim Carrey. I want somebody. I want, even if it's Michael Phelps going up there and just pulling apart
You
his
want
webbed
it-
feet.
I think I
I
figured
want
it
to
out.
see. I want a guest speaker for my commencement speech.
You want it to be Bronny James. You want Bronny James to give your commencement speech.
Oh, that would be incredible.
Could you
Although
imagine?
he wouldn't take kindly to it since he's a USC, not graduate, alum. Can you be an alum without having
I
graduated?
don't know if you could technically be an alum without graduating. Not really sure how that works, Phil.
Bruno Baller on the text line saying, I'm sure you'll remember that Jim Carrey got his start on the TV show In Living Color and probably was the funniest guy on that show. I know the Wayans brothers were also on Living Color.
Oh, they're great.
Yeah.
Love a good white chicks.
And fun fact, I'm pretty sure.
You can say that now.
Here's a fun fact for you.
You can
Yeah,
say
yeah.
that now without
See,
being annexed.
I know exactly. Well, that's my first time of saying it, not my every moment.
Yeah.
Also, Jim Carrey never been on SNL, if I recall correctly. I know that he played Andy Kaufman, who was
I
an
don't
SNL great,
know.
but I'm pretty sure that he's never been on SNL.
Yeah, I don't think he has actually. Now that I think about it, has he been on any SNL skits? Like not even a single one?
I'm pretty sure not. No, I mean,
'Cause-
well, because at his fame, he would not be on a skit. Like he may,
Yeah.
and if he's never been on SNL before, he certainly wouldn't be a cameo. So he'd have to be hosting, and I'm pretty sure that he's never hosted. You can fact check me on that.
He would be the perfect humor for that too. He would be like
Oh, yeah.
the
That's
guy
right up
for
his
that.
alley.
Yeah, like honest, like you get a Dave Chappelle in there, and you're like, I don't know if SNL would like that. Jim Carrey, they would love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So MLB was not the only thing that went on last night. We had a pretty big game over in New York in Madison Square Garden, the
Oh my
mecca
gosh.
of basketball.
Yeah.
Now, look, I think 2 games in thus far, because we haven't even talked about the Western Conference Finals, so we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But I feel as if, Harris, that the games thus far, 1 game in, take it for what it is. Both games have really played out exactly kind of how you and I both thought that this was going to go. Thunder blowout, Minnesota Timberwolves, and it really did feel like a blowout. And then here in the Pacers, the Pacers win, take and steal home court advantage. Nothing about it makes me feel any less confident about my Game 7, bare minimum Game 6 prediction of this series. It was very close. Went to overtime. Pacers, my goodness, the style of play that they have, they literally never give up. Like that is so endearing to watch as a fan
Yeah.
to see that these Indiana Pacers, it doesn't matter what the friggin' score is at the end of the fourth, whether it's a 20-point lead, whether it's a 6-point lead with like 4 minutes to go in the fourth, they are just nonstop berating you on defense, and they will go and make the right reads. It's something, man. It is something.
Well, Phil, Indiana does that because they're deep. They play 11 guys, 9 minutes per game or more. That's the most in the league. And they play at the 3rd highest pace in the NBA as well. So those two combining that, they play super fast and they wear you out. I love a good full court press, man. That was dead in the NBA forever. You could only get it in college and high school. And the fact that Indiana does it with Rick Carlisle, dude, you have guys hustling in 4 quarters. I love this Pacers team, man. And I love the story of the Knicks, but man, yeah, we both called it. This was also the craziest game of basketball I've ever seen.
Yeah, I will be first to admit, like I said, me and Sports Girly were going out to dinner, and I made sure we had prime seats.
Yeah,
we were looking at the game, so I was watching it. No commentary needed. I can provide my own in my head.
Right.
And I was watching, and I was enjoying a nice salmon. I was just sitting there with some salmon and shrimp.
You
and
like the salmon?
I did.
Salmon.
I was eating my salmon because that cuts so easily with the fork. So
Yeah.
I'm just there like I don't
It
even need to
does.
take my eyeballs away. I can just cut and then directly into mouth.
Yep.
And as I'm watching this, I said, you know what? Now with 4 minutes to go left in the fourth, this is the time that I can de-shell my shrimp. And so I got to working on the shrimp, not paying as much attention. And lo and behold, just inch by inch, these Indiana Pacers came back and forced overtime. I was like, surely I missed something with my shrimp enjoyment. And lo and behold, they were just able to go. And I think what's possibly most impressive about the Indiana Pacers is that they were able to out-clutch the quote unquote most clutch team in the NBA going into the postseason, and this point to into the playoffs, with the New York Knicks having Jalen Brunson, the league's awarded most clutch player of the year, with him certainly playing like it, with him certainly having a bunch of key moments, icing a bunch of key games and a bunch of key series on his own style of play and playmaking. It has been incredible that the Indiana Pacers have just been able to constantly get pressure, pierce through the defense of the Tom Thibodeau's New York Knicks style of defense, and just consistently be able to make the right play, be able to play in clutch. And also, I gotta say, it's fun for now, but I can definitely see an alternate route where Tyrese Halliburton, I can see where he is annoying to play against.
Oh, so I got a couple, dare I say, fun facts for you.
Oh, please.
Phil, that's right.
Can you give them to me here?
Oh, I can. So no team trailing by 9 points or more in the final minute or of regulation or overtime has won a playoff game since 1998. The record was 0 in 1,414. After last night, it's 1 in 1,414.
These Indiana Pacers are historically good in the fourth quarter. It's incredible.
I got more. Furthermore, since 1997, no team has lost a playoff game leading by 14 or more with 2:50 remaining in regulation or overtime. The leading team was 977-0 going into last night. Now 977-1.
But to be fair, yeah, they did need overtime for this, but yes.
Yep. And the last one, the Pacers scored 23 points in the final 3:14. No team has ever done during a postseason game in the play-by-play era, which began in 1997. They became the first team ever recorded to do that.
That's again, through each point, it is incredible, and I think it does take something akin to this run for, I think, people to give a bunch of respect and honor to the Indiana Pacers and what it is that they're doing, because I think I'll put myself in this bucket. Last year felt like
yourself in the bucket.
Yeah, absolutely. It's nice. It's warm. It's sudsy.
Yeah.
This bucket is certainly well populated because I was one of the people that did not give much credit to the Indiana Pacers winning and going on a journey to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. Right? Like I thought that they had a great draw. I thought that they upset New York Knicks teams that felt overwhelmed. And now what we're seeing is just validation in both play and production on the part of the Indiana Pacers. And I'm to the point to where I think that even if the New York Knicks can win this series, I'm pretty sure that they're drawing dead against what I would say is the presumed favorite and winner of the Western Conference Finals, the Oklahoma City Thunder. But if there's a shot, the better shot on who can actually upset the Thunder would be the Indiana Pacers. Do you agree on that?
100% agree with you on that. Now, this is a Hollywood series. This Pacers Knicks series,
a Hollywood series in New York.
This is a Hollywood series in New York. Phil, I went there, Phil.
My God.
You've got Spike Lee sitting courtside. You've got Reggie Miller on the call.
Ben
You've got
Stiller
Tyrese
everywhere.
Halliburton, Ben Stiller. You've got Tyrese Halliburton, like putting up choke signs after the biggest
That's so
playoff
disrespectful.
collapse
I love it.
in the last 25 years, possibly. Statistically, you could say in NBA history, this series, like, sit back and grab your popcorn, man, because this series is going to be absolutely entertaining. And yes, to your question, though, I will say I 100% agree that the Pacers are more capable of upsetting, we'll call it like it is, the Oklahoma City Thunder than the New York Knicks. I agree. The Pacers, they're 5-1 on the road in the playoffs. 5-1.
Yeah.
Like, they play great on the road. They're going to need that if they play Oklahoma City. They are 42-16 since January 1st. That is on pace of 59-23, which would be the third best record in the East, barely behind Boston. So they're playing at a fantastic pace right now. Also, we got to ask this question. What the heck happened to Aaron Nesmith? What was that?
Yeah.
That was insane.
Yeah, he has been incredible this postseason, but that is a question that I'd like to further delve into after this break. It is 1580 The Fanatic.
Get our free app and listen to the Daily Blender everywhere you go. Get it today, wherever you get your favorite apps.
This Memorial Day, turn up the heat with the Home Depot. Find the perfect grill and patio set to keep the cookouts coming all season long. Grill up a feast with the Next Grill 4-burner gas grill, only $229. And complete your space with the stylish Glen Ridge Falls 7-piece dining set, now on special buy for just $499 with free delivery. Take your Memorial Day cookout to the next level all summer long with the Home Depot. See homedepot.com/delivery for more details.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40, and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-694-1010. That's 1-800-694-1010. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. 1-800-694-1010. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
It's time to make your yard the best on the block with Memorial Day savings at the Home Depot. Start by keeping the weeds at bay with EarthGrow mulch, now 4 for $10. Then keep your garden thriving with Miracle-Gro garden soil, now on special buy, 4 for $10. Give your neighbors yard envy all summer long with Memorial Day savings going on now at the Home Depot.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, and it's no surprise. Same game parlay from Bet365 just keeps getting better.
Well, it's even easier to make a bet. Choose from the most popular markets like hits, run line, totals, and home runs. So many to choose from.
Download the app, start building your bet, and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Arizona. T&Cs apply.
O'Reilly.
Check engine, ABS, or maintenance light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. The service is free and provides a report with solutions verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we could recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
1580 and 99.3 The Fanatic.
Live and local.
It's the Daily Blender here on 1580 The Fanatic. Of course, the Bill and Harry. That's right. Absolutely. And we do have multiple texters on the text line. Let's clean it up here. Multiple texters coming and correcting me, saying that Jim Carrey was not only on SNL twice, he was on 3 times, and he was also part of an iconic skit that I actually forgot. Chosen One saying they did a skit with Will Ferrell and the 2 guys at the bar in which he joined them. Fantastic. That's right. That did rejigger some memories for me. So absolutely correct. Absolutely correct on that one. I'm sorry to the legacy of Jim Carrey. I love Jim Carrey, actually. So I'm glad that he was on it and can go back.
Someone in life's got to hold you accountable, Phil, and that's what the 4th dimension is for. They will do that. Just when sometimes you don't want it, that's what they're there for. I've noticed with me. Cleaned up my vocabulary in a lot of ways, Phil. The 4th dimension has helped. But Phil, let's continue. Actually, let's talk about this game 2 coming up, but also the Oklahoma City, Minnesota series.
Yeah, Donnie on the text line says, I didn't know the Western Conference Finals was over for you knuckleheads. He's coming at us for saying that we've all but just gifted the Oklahoma City Thunder the finals. So let's go to game 1. You had some thoughts here, Harris.
Well, when I was watching game 1, I found myself getting really, really passionate. Like my roommate was calling me out on it. I was getting up and I was screaming at the TV.
You wanted the coach to sub you in. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not. I'm a couch coach, Phil, and I do it. I don't do it for any money. I do it for the love of the game. Let me make myself clear. But I was getting up. That's a foul. How do you not call that? And I was like, my roommate was like, why are you getting so passionate about this? You're not a Thunder fan, at least not that I know of. And I realized it was because I want that free pizza from Donnie. I want that free pizza. But it's more than just the pizza, because I know how Donnie berades Jeffrey. I know how he berades Jeffrey. And you know what? As much crap as Jeffrey gives me, I will protect him. I will protect him. And winning this bet is my means of protecting Jeffrey.
That would be the most delicious pizza, the most delicious cheese pizza you've ever had in your gosh darn life.
And Donnie, just know if I do win this bet, which I'm planning to, I will be giving a couple pieces to Jeffrey, and we'll be celebrating.
So game one happened. It was a blowout. And I think what is amongst the most dispiriting facets of this game is that the Minnesota Timberwolves were not the team coming off of a Game 7 series.
Nope.
The Minnesota Timberwolves were not the team that is supposed to have more experience and veteran leadership heading into an Western Conference Finals.
Yep.
And the Minnesota Timberwolves were not the team that were not supposed to have the second best player, even though that they was winning an MVP award. It was supposed to be Anthony Edwards, who was supposed to do tremendous things, superstar-like things.
Correct.
And he simply did not. He was 5 for 13 from the field, played 37 minutes, and at the end of the day, only had 18 points. Now he was minus 23 while on the court. That's a complete turnaround. Yep. And I think you can also say that if this is going to happen, if this performance is excused by any team to do it to you, it would be the Oklahoma City Thunder, who come at you in waves, come at you in droves, at least defensively. So I'm not at the point to where I want to kill him for his lack of effort or lack of energy.
I don't think you should be at that point, Phil.
No.
A pretty crazy point.
Yeah, no. I think we wait till the end of the series to have a full sit down with Anthony Edwards and figure out what's wrong with him. But it certainly was disheartening. Now, all that being said, I feel as if it will make sense that at some point within the first 2 quarters of this game, on game 2, that we've seen how this plays, right? The beats of playoff basketball, where the Minnesota Timberwolves will lead by 7, by 5 points, and seem to be in firm control, as they are the more desperate team, as they are the team that certainly got mollywopped on game 1, as they are the team that desperately needs to win this game in order for this to at all feel like a series, or to at least have a chance to go any sort of distance. But I'm not sure that they can. Like, I don't know what in this game. I know that a lot of people are also just crying over Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's what I would agree with, egregious foul calls. I certainly agree.
He's this generation's James Harden.
He is. I think he generates more contact, more like it is.
Because he's a little more lengthy.
Yeah, he's certainly looking for a foul to the same degree that James Harden is.
Yeah.
But what I can at least give him some wiggle room on is that he does generate contact more than the chicken arm that James Harden would do.
Yeah.
But he is certainly up there. I'm surprised that he's getting a regular season whistle here in the playoffs. Like, that is surprising and shocking. One would think that a new refereeing crew in each game, I believe, as is par for the course in the conference finals, will certainly solve that to some degree. But yeah, I honestly don't know if there is a route forward that I see for these Minnesota Timberwolves, as much as I actually think it would be better for the game, better for the brand of basketball and in the form of the NBA, if the Minnesota Timberwolves were to win.
Yeah, honestly, this game was close. And then Julius Randle
and then
stopped.
It wasn't.
And then it wasn't. And then Julius Randle stopped looking like Steph Curry from 3, and he regressed to the mean. And then it became a blowout. So that's telling, Phil, because that tells me that Minnesota needs something extraordinary meaning the mean is ordinary, extraordinary, from the mean to happen.
Julius Randle was the only player for the Minnesota Timberwolves who was doing anything.
He was,
and it was just the first half, Harris.
Yeah, and Anthony Edwards, it's not that he had a super inefficient game. That wasn't the biggest concern with him, which he wasn't the most efficient, to be fair. He wasn't aggressive. Why wasn't he aggressive, Phil? What happened?
You know what? Again, we'll have to wait and look back on the series in memoriam whenever it happens,
Right.
whenever that should be. But I think the best outlook, if you are a Timberwolves fan, the best way that you can possibly spin this is saying that, the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Oklahoma City Thunder played very weird series in the regular season.
Yeah.
Like I think that they split the season, and only one game had the entire starting lineup for both teams. And so whenever you have that much lack of a previous history with one another, I think that game one can certainly be a feel it out game. There's just a couple jabs, kind of see how it goes. And the Minnesota Timberwolves certainly have the ability of, like, they're not the Indiana Pacers. They have some quit in them. Like, in that if they will powder their keg and they will save their ammunition for later games, because they realize just they don't have the lack, or they do not have the abundance of depth that the Oklahoma City Thunder have at their disposal. So they will be like, we'll wait and use our minutes later on in the series.
No, the Thunder are like the Pacers on steroids.
Yeah.
They're first in the NBA in pace.
Absolutely.
They had 13 steals as a team. 13 steals, Phil. 5 of them by Jalen Williams. Cason Wallace, you may look at his box score and say, he had 3 points. He went 1 for 3 from the field. He was doing things that the box score cannot record. Minnesota had some issues with him. Every single time, pick and roll, Shea floats to the perimeter. They double team Shea. You leave Cason Wallace open on the perimeter. He kicks it to Cason Wallace. He has an easy drives by. The perimeter, the paint defender has to help. Isaiah Hartenstein, every time. So many lobs. In Minnesota, I'm kind of shocked because Chris Finch did not adjust to it whatsoever. Did not adjust whatsoever. So Cason Wallace was plus 21 on the game. He had the second highest plus minus on the team, that only behind SGA. So that Cason Wallace SGA combo is giving them fits. It's also their bench too. Dort, Caruso, you can go, that team is probably 9-10 guys deep, and they can just kill Minnesota with their depth and with their energy as well. This is a young team, Phil. This is the youngest team in the NBA. Honestly, do you see Minnesota winning any of these games?
I didn't feel. I gave one game to Minnesota.
You gave one game
to Anthony Edwards
and Donnie.
Yeah, and maybe a little less respect for Donnie, as much as I. No, I think I gave him one. I usually give, if you have a superstar, and I believe in him as much as I do, I'll give you one. I'll give you one, just superstar, supernova game where Anthony Edwards scores 37 on an efficient, I don't even know, 20 for 38, or something like that, to where, he just absolutely dominates the game. Kind of like Luka Doncic beating the Celtics to avoid the sweep in the finals last year. I'll give you one.
Yeah.
But outside of that, and that's not, we're not talking about playoff Jimmy Butler here, where I'm expecting that same outcome each and every time.
No.
So I go one, but I probably, if I was a betting man and I liked the value, I probably would have gone a sweep before this series, and I see nothing to sway me away from that, based off of what I saw. And one more thing is that I think that it's interesting how the narrative will change as the series goes on. I almost wanted to call it prior to both games starting, but I feel if Shea Gilgeous-Alexander's fouls and how he was getting those extra, the third point, or even just the initial free throws off of the missed 2 that he's jumping into.
Yeah.
If the New York Knicks and Jalen Brunson were to at all get that in New York, there would be an outcry. Just get ready for it. It's simmering, Harris. It's in the background. It's bubbling.
Oh man!
I'm just telling you, people are going to say that if that series goes 7 and there's one last minute free throw that's done, and Jalen Brunson's at the line and he got a quote unquote favorable call, there will be calls of a massive outcry.
2002 Lakers Kings.
Yeah, people will say, "Oh, this is what the NBA wanted. This is what the NBA needs. This is what they desire that the New York Knicks get." And so just buckle in, have your seatbelt ready, because they are coming. Those calls of an outcry that the NBA is cooking for the New York Knicks, it's coming. So the Indiana Pacers, in order to avoid any of that and just outright beat without tainting their victory over the New York Knicks, should that happen, has to come in like an early series, like 5 or maybe even 6 game series, or else it will be cries of outrage on behalf of New York.
So what you're saying is Anthony Edwards needs to turn into essentially Superman to win a game, like LeBron James in 2018 against Golden State. You're saying. And folks, that'll do it for the first hour of the Daily Blender on 1580 The Fanatic. We got a lot to talk about in the second hour. We got college football, college basketball, we got hockey, we got the NFL. Folks, stay tuned.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com, sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Guys in the know and prices so low. It just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
Over 10 stores covering every corner of the greater Phoenix Valley.
Drink responsibly, B21.
It's back. The 3rd annual Fire and Fairways Charity Golf Tournament presented by Kasai Japanese Steakhouse. It's Monday, June 2nd at Biltmore Golf Club. This year supporting Alice Cooper's Solid Rock Teen Centers. Early entry is just $175 and includes goodie bag, raffle tickets, plus a fabulous after golf celebration, lunch buffet, and drinks at Kasai Japanese Steakhouse in Scottsdale. You don't golf? Well, then join us at the celebration for just $75. Sign up today. Go to KasaiFireandFairways.com. That's KasaiFireandFairways.com.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams Memorial Day sale and get 30% off paints and stains May 16th through the 26th. With prices starting at $34.29, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your bedroom, living room, or home office, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Shop the sale online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
My pain is considerable, but that prescription is dangerous.
The side effects of my medicine are worse than my condition.
I'm in recovery. I can't take those pills.
When faced with a health crisis, you shouldn't have to choose between risks.
At the Naturopathic Physicians Group in Scottsdale, our naturopathic doctors are experts in full spectrum care using a natural approach. Patients come in for a variety of issues, including joint pain, chronic conditions, and issues specific to men's and women's health. Our naturopathic doctors can restore pain-free joint function and restore balance in immune, digestive, and hormone systems, which often improves immediate physical symptoms without having you take a bunch of pills. If traditional medicines aren't working, don't you think it's time to start feeling like yourself again? Call Naturopathic Physicians Group at 480-451-6161. That's 480-451-6161. Or go to naturopathicgroup.com.
KQFN Tempe. Also transmitting on K257CD Phoenix at 99.3 FM and K240 EU Mountain Hills at 95.9 FM.
Quiet, people, settle down. Because it's time. Time for what?
Showtime.
When does it start?
Right now. 3, 2, 1.
Let's get on with the show. Let's do it.
It's the Daily Blender on 1580 The Fanatic. I am Harris Hicks, performing the evil takeover of the millennials and the Gen Zs over the boomers in the show. Jeffrey and Randy are out. But folks, I've got Phil alongside me for hour 2. Phil, so some recent news that we're going to get into. The NBA MVP has been announced.
Yes, much to all the fanfare, much to everybody's well-known that this was going to happen. Everybody knew SGA of the Oklahoma City Thunder was going to win it.
Do you think this is deserved, Phil?
Oh, deserve is such a dangerous word here, Harris. I do think that it was the right MVP because...
Really?
Yes, I do. Because at some point, we do have to have consistency. We do need to have precedent matter. We do have to have rules that matter. So whenever we look at last year's Nikola Jokic win, I feel like that is the exact reason and rationale as to why this year SGA won. Because you cannot have Nikola Jokic win last year and he wins it over Luka Doncic last year because of better seeding, because his team had because remember, Nikola Jokic, if you remember, had like what, a top 3 seed, top 4 seed. I believe it was top 3.
3 seed or 2 seed, something,
something
like
that.
Yeah.
And Luka Doncic was down in the 6s, right?
Yeah.
So we had well, if you only get to a 6 seed, the only way that you can win the MVP is if you get a triple-double and a 6 seed, all right? Like Mr. Russell Westbrook, he showed that only a 6 seed with a triple-double, that's the only way. Okay, fine.
I don't think it deserved
fine.
Your side note.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
But since Luka Doncic didn't actually average a triple-double, he just came within decimal points of it, then Nikola Jokic, since his contribution to his team led to more wins, which means that since he had the higher seed, he can safely be the MVP. Fine, fantastic. This year, it's head-to-head. Now, Nikola Jokic is in the reverse. He's the number 3 seed. Or no, he's the number 4 seed? 4 seed. He's the number 4 seed.
4 seed.
And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Nikola Jokic has to look up and say, hey, all the way up at the 1 seed, there's a SGA, and he has better stats than me slightly.
Does he now?
Slightly.
That I don't agree with.
He's slightly more efficient. I mean, overall, you're looking at a slightly better assist, and certainly the rebounds is where Nikola Jokic dominates over SGA.
There's a significant gap there in assist.
Either way,
his 3-point shooting percentages are also Jokic's, that is, are insanely high. SGA's are good. They're solid.
So if you have Nikola Jokic setting the standard, setting the bare minimum of rules that we must all abide by and oblige by in this particular world upon how we vote, then I'm sorry, there is no way that Nikola Jokic wins last year's and SGA does not win this year. I mean, if we're going to go to like, wins matters above all else, and then if it's close, then we can start talking about getting, dissecting the semantics and the statistics for either candidate, then yes, SGA does deserve this win.
Phil, I'm going to have you read this out. Most what player?
Most valuable player.
Valuable player. So I have the on-off numbers here. Denver, per 100 possessions. And yes, Fourth Dimension, I understand the show is getting quite nerdy. It is. This wouldn't be a millennial Gen Z takeover if there weren't some analytics involved. Just saying, is Denver's plus 10.5 with Jokic on the court. Without him, they go to -9. That is a 19-point difference. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, plus 17 with him on the court. Without him, that goes down to +5. That's an 11-point difference. It's an 8-point gap. So, Phil, my conclusion is my criteria is based on the name itself, most valuable player. That being said, I believe that Nikola Jokic is the most valuable player of any team, for any team in the whole league. I believe he's the best player in the league, and I think he deserves, this should be his 4th MVP, I believe. And so that being said, yes, I will be taking Nikola Jokic over SGA.
Yeah, you can, so you can say that, and I would mostly agree. Certainly, as you've panned me as what is my favorite player?
Your favorite? LeBron James.
LeBron James.
Bronny James?
No, just LeBron James. Bronny James he's a valuable end of bench.
Oh,
guy.
so valuable.
End of the bench. Absolute last guy on the bench.
Yep.
But if LeBron James, as that guy, trust me, I've heard all this. You know where I heard it? Coming out of my own mouth. Since 2013, LeBron James has not won an MVP. And I'm the guy who's saying, what is it? Most valuable player? Absolutely. I'm that guy.
Yep.
But we do not live in that reality. It is a narrative award. It is a traveling trophy. It is an award to where that there are layers and there are steps upon which you must go in order to achieve the next layer. Like it's kind of like golf, where there is no easier path than winning
golf.
And accomplishing your achievement early on.
Yep.
Right? Like the first day of golf you start playing to the next week will be the biggest signs of improvement that you'll have. And then it'll slowly, as time goes on, from your first time that you start to the end of your first month, no bigger sign of improvement. First time that you swing to the end of your first year, no bigger sign of improvement. And once you get to this first day of your second year, and you're going from like year 1 to year 2, your growth is going to severely stunt.
Phil, do you play golf?
Not avidly. Like I am a mean putt-putt golfer.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I've heard Jeffrey's pretty good.
Yeah.
And I'd imagine Randy's like John Daly out there.
Oh, absolutely. He's out there measuring. He's got rulers up the wazoo. Yeah, he's looking at the sun angles and the breeze. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I think he could be missing today due to his rigorous training for the NFL Draft Combine, as I've talked about coming up next year.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's
the
Randy.
long jump.
A lot of people see Randy and they're like, he's not fast. His nickname was the Enforcer in his flag football league that he played, to which he claims he was a defensive tackle in his flag football league. I don't know if that's a thing, but I think Randy was so good that it probably became a thing.
Yeah.
I suspect. Anyway, got off topic here. Yeah, got off topic here. I think Jokic should be the MVP because, and this, Phil, the question here isn't who we think is going to win it. The question is who we believe should win it, who deserves it. So based on that most valuable argument claim that I said, I believe he should win it based off of that. But this was one of the most stacked. This might be, I'm going to say it actually. This is the most stacked MVP race we've ever had. This 2-man race between Jokic and SGA, it's stacked. Both of them would win MVPs almost any other year. You have a guy who averages a 30-point triple-double, shooting 40+% from 3, and a guy
That's a big man.
Yeah, and a guy scoring 30+ on a 68-win team with very efficient numbers. We have not had an MVP race like this, Phil, in a long while. So your SGA argument, while I disagree with it, I can see it.
Yeah, because
I can ultimately see it.
Because look at again, we have to take history and precedent into the equation, right? Like we have to. Was there ever a year where people were saying, "Hey, Derrick Rose, that guy's better than LeBron James"? Just player for player, start a new roster. I think unless you live in Chicago, unless you are just swept up in that emotion, no. But we look at it, and it was his turn. It was his time to do it and to help promote the league almost internally because, hey, LeBron James, he's already won. Derrick Rose hasn't won one. And, Derrick Rose hasn't won one. He's won now twice, so let's go. Once you get to 4 MVP awards, it's hard to find the guy that's won 4 MVP awards and only 1 championship.
And I think LeBron deserved it that year, too.
Oh, yeah, certainly. Absolutely.
You would so agree with that.
Of course. So let's go to the text line here. Hefty Lefty saying the problem with MVP is that they don't have enough objective boxes to check in order to win the award. Some years it's the best player on the best team. Other years it's the best historical statistical seasons. Other years they have voter fatigue and give it to a better story. Hefty Lefty, preach to the choir, my guy.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yes, you're right. By definition, like I don't know why, but somehow amongst the entirety of the world, like we lost what the term most valuable player means because it should be, it doesn't say most valuable player asterisk on the winning team, on the winningest team, it doesn't say that. Like this is why I actually very much find such a beloved nature towards the NBA Finals MVP because it's the only like professional league where that has given an MVP award to a player off of the losing team. And I just have
Jerry
so much,
West.
West.
Hockey did it last year with McDavid.
Oh, that's
Keep in
right.
mind.
They did. Well, yes, they did. Yeah, and he didn't even want to accept it. Fine. I love it. Yes, you're right. Let's go. Hockey. I forgot about last year. Excellent catch. But
thank you, Phil.
Yes, but I do think at some point we have to, like you said, Hefty Lefty, have some just check marks. Just have something of like, okay, you are only eligible. They're doing it now, right? You can only win the award. You're only eligible for awards if you meet the minimum game requirement.
I love that.
I think that's certainly it's almost like kind of airing out the dirty secret that was like to where like if you only play 50 games, you're not eligible for the MVP award in anybody's mind. Like you can't be just like Kawhi Leonard and win it. You need to actually play more games. So it's like putting more, pen to paper objective awards. So I can agree. I'd like to see what those barriers, what those requirements would need to be in order to earn an MVP award. But I think you're right, Harris, in that like it's not like it's so subjective an award and so seemingly subjective a term, most valuable player, now that we've like kind of lost what it actually means.
Yeah.
Swazman on the text line saying, plus Harris is SGA. I've never heard him talk until yesterday. He sounds like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. Those are my two favorite players of all time. I'm not entirely sure what that means, but
did you just compare me to SGA and then compare SGA? Is that what? Did I hear that right?
Yeah. Oh, okay. So Harris, SGA, I've never heard him talk until yesterday. But he sounds like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. So meaning he's never heard him actually go up to a mic. SGA.
He's a quiet guy.
Yeah, he's a quiet guy, and so I've never actually heard him. But he sounds like a guy like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. So he's just saying, I'm going to put forth love onto SGA because he sounds like my favorite players. Makes sense. All right. So one thing that I found interesting that kind of came out today is that there is talk that the Treasury Department, like we don't normally get political on this show on the Daily Blender.
Okay.
But I thought this one would be something that would bring a tear to Jeffrey O'Brien's eye because having gone to lunch and mostly been on the losing side of bets on lunch bets to Jeffrey O'Brien.
I've heard.
He
brags all about it.
Yes, absolutely. I've seen him at a lunch or two, and I see that this is a guy who doesn't carry cash. Like he carries cards and everything else. He does not carry cash for the most part because I think it's just cumbersome. He's not usually like that type of guy. But if we can get political for one moment, the Treasury Department is set to phase out the penny after President Trump says the coin no longer makes sense. Pun intended. Like I don't know if Randy can whistle the president of the United States, but I think he would.
I would never blow the whistle on such a pun.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, that was excellent, Phil.
Yeah, I think
that was filthy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Harris, do you? I don't know. I feel like the penny itself is one of those things that I'm still a sucker. If I look down and I'm walking outside my local Fry's, and I look down and I see a face up penny, I'm grabbing it. You know what? Actually, given the price of eggs recently and how much I'm obsessed, even if it's face down, I'll still kind of.
Oh, dude, I don't blame you. Yeah, dude, go ahead for it. Yeah, I don't.
Do you carry cash on you, Harris?
I do carry cash.
How so? Like, what is like the normal? Like, let's give people mugging information. So, if they were to go and make you empty your pockets, how much money would they find on Harris on any given day?
Well, with how much Jeffrey's paying me, I mean, it's millions of dollars just coming out of the pockets, right?
Absolutely.
You see $100 bills, floating everywhere.
You're like a parent who went through the recession and just like you shake like their mattress where just you shake it and out falls dollar bills and change. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm like the big short basically.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with all that money. Yep. I would say actually, surprisingly, for to mention, that was actually a lie. I'm gonna confess. I'm not carrying hundreds of dollars on me every day. Usually about a good solid 20.
20? See, I'm
about a 20.
I'm more around a 60 burger.
Okay.
Because I like to
Phil's balling.
No, it's not that. It's more so I like to have this probably speaks more to my OCD. Where
are you very OCD?
I'm not very, but I'm kind of like I
can see that.
I'm not I have a little bit in me where I need a 20.
Yeah.
I need 2 10s. I need 2 5s and then the rest in 1s. And the reason why is because I think where it mostly comes from is that I used to work a service job. So because of that,
me as well.
Yeah. So because of that, I know the value of getting a tip on a card versus getting tipped in cash.
Yeah.
And if it's cash, that's always preferred. Always preferred. Pro tip. So I'd like to make sure that I am well prepared. Like that if I'm ever out at a dining establishment ordering my easy to cut, easy to fork salmon, that I will have enough in cash for that tip because I'm not out here drinking Bacardi. I'm not out here, sign me up for the Grey Goose, so my bill, the tip would very, very, very rarely ever exceed like even $20. So therefore, if I go to like lunch and dinner, heaven forbid, if we're going crazy and we're going for brunch as well, the $60 should be able to sustain me for the entirety of one day. So that's where my $60. However, in the penny, if we get back to the story itself, it doesn't do much for me. You know what I do to incorporate the penny?
What do you do?
Is that I go to grocery stores with all my change. I keep it in my card, the little change that I accumulate over time. And then I just go to that self-checkout and I just go buy myself a little candy bar. Just go buy myself, maybe I'll buy the girlfriend a dozen roses, something.
You're a roses guy? See, that's old school, Phil. I am that way too, but you don't see people like us anymore, Phil.
You don't see people like, yeah. We are one of a kind here.
We are truly one of a kind. Phil.
Absolutely. That's a pro tip for you. If you ever want to go out and about, and make sure to use your pennies and use your change for a force of good, make sure that you go out and use the self-checkout. Save it for that, because you can then use the change and then use the rest on your card. Many people just throw that stuff on the ground. That's free money. But the penny,
that is free money, Phil.
The penny, I think is very much, we've outgrown the penny. I think it had its time. We still have Abraham Lincoln, beloved as he may be. We have him on the $5 bill, so we're not going to truly miss
It's not
him.
like we're annexing Abraham Lincoln. No, we're not doing that. He's still on the $5 bill. That's an important thing.
That is a far more important thing. We love ourselves some America.
That's right.
Last optimist goes where I was trying to go on the text line on my pun. Phil isn't superstitious. He's just a little stitious. That's all he is.
Yep. I'm not too superstitious, but my dad actually had this chair. He had this chair that he would sit in. And when he would get up from the chair, the Titans would do so much better when I was a kid. So we stopped watching the games with us. And then that was the year the Titans actually got the #1 overall seed in the AFC. Obviously, what happened after that.
Joe Shiesty.
Oh.
Swazman on the text line saying, Phil, kids don't carry cash. Kids don't carry cash. Just all of us old people, Jeffrey, Randy, and myself, Swazman. You know what? I would say that carrying cash is a dying art. It is one that I try to recruit others into. Yes. And one more thing before we close out the text line here and go to break that we are late for. Random texter says, you say that you shouldn't be eligible for MVP if you only play 50 games? What if the team you're playing for goes 40-10 in those 50 games, and then the other 32 go 10-22 with you out for an injury, let's say? Okay, so in this scenario, if you're winning every 4 out of your 5 games and you only played 50 games, no, you cannot be the most valuable player. And it's simple, a simple math equation at that point. If you are not attributing to any wins that the team has with you not on the floor, then by definition, that means that even though, trust me, I love this argument. This is the Peyton Manning argument, where the year he was gone from the Colts, the year before, they were making the playoffs. They were a #1 seed. Next year,
2-14.
Yeah, 2-14, get a #1 pick, get Andrew Luck, all that stuff.
Shout out Curtis Painter.
Amen.
Yep.
People were shouting from the rooftops in little pockets around the country saying, hey, if the Colts are really this bad and they were really good last year, should we not give the MVP to Peyton Manning? I mean, if they are that drastically different.
Jeffrey would like a word.
Jeffrey would, yes, absolutely.
He would.
And I love that argument. I think it's a fun one, but it has no basis on reality. If there are 32 games that are played without your contribution whatsoever, you are simply not mathematically eligible to be the most valuable player, as opposed to somebody who at least plays 70.
I like what it does more than just that. It incentivizes people to play the games because of load management. Load management is a massive issue in the NBA, Phil. And there's got to be, and you get bonuses for getting these types of awards, Phil. You get incentives, you get paid.
Oh, absolutely.
So it incentivizes people to play more games. And I think there should be accountability there. And if this is the accountability that needs to be taken, then I support it.
So coming back on the other side of this break, we are going to be heading down to Indianapolis. We just talked about Peyton Manning. Let's go more into a more somber story over in Indianapolis on the other side of this break. It's the Daily Blender on 1580 AM, The Fanatic.
All systems go. Listen to our live stream on your phone at 1580thefanatic.com.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-8695. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-8695. That's 800-575-8695. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Not another one. 26-year-old male, wasn't wearing a seatbelt. How's the driver in the other vehicle? Yeah, thankfully she's okay. She had her seatbelt on. It's really sad. You know, these tragedies are entirely preventable.
It said click it or ticket, but for some, they should be so lucky. Besides getting a ticket or a fine, the consequences could take your life. So don't risk it. Click it or ticket. This message is brought to you by NHTSA.
It's back. The third annual Fire and Fairways Charity Golf Tournament presented by Kasai Japanese Steakhouse. It's Monday, June 2nd at Biltmore Golf Club. This year supporting Alice Cooper's Solid Rock Teen Centers. Early entry is just $175 and includes goodie bag, raffle tickets, plus a fabulous after golf celebration, lunch buffet, and drinks at Kasai Japanese Steakhouse in Scottsdale. You don't golf? Well, then join us at the celebration for just $75. Sign up today. Go to KasaiFireandFairways.com. That's KasaiFireandFairways.com.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, and it's no surprise. Same game parlay from Bet365 just keeps getting better.
Well, it's even easier to make a bet. Choose from the most popular markets like hits, run line, totals, and home runs. So many to choose from.
Download the app, start building your bet, and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Arizona. T&Cs apply.
My name is Mary Grace. There are a few misconceptions about Alzheimer's. It's not just memory loss. It's the loss of mobility, the risk of falling.
For more information, contact the Alzheimer's Association at alz.org, sponsored by the Alzheimer's Association.
The more you listen to your kids, the closer you'll be. Find resources to help you support your kids and their emotional well-being at sounditouttogether.org. That's sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Pivotal.
The Rich Eisen Show. If you think Rose should be in the Hall of Fame, that the only way I would have him in the Hall of Fame while he was still alive is if you put on his plaque what happened. And baseball is a story. The story should include what Rose did and that he was banned for the rest of his days after being investigated and found guilty of gambling in 1989.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at 9 a.m. on 1580, The Fanatic.
It's the Daily Blender here on 1580 AM. The Fanatics. Was man on the text line sending in a picture of a very impressive jar of change. Yeah, and it goes apparently directly to Wells Fargo every $100 of car change. So me and Roseman are kindred spirits.
Yes, you are. You are. And tip on carrying cash, people. When you go to sports games, I've seen this a lot of Diamondbacks games, Phil. When you go in and they'll say $20 cash for parking, $25 for card. If you carry cash, you'll be able to pay the $20.
Absolutely. Yeah, there are a few times where you do get cheaper. Like I think even what is it, Arco AMPM charges less for card versus cash. So cash is king.
They charge less for card or less for cash?
Less for cash.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Places are doing that.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right, so we pivot and spin to quite possibly the real reason why Jeffrey O'Brien is gone today, and why Randy had to go in and console Jeffrey O'Brien.
Is it this?
Longtime Indianapolis Colts owner and CEO Jim Irsay died yesterday at the age of 65.
Oh man.
Yeah. It's look, I think first of all, hail fellow well met. Certainly lived a life. Like he's an interesting guy. He was a rocker. I know that he had a lot of Hall of Fame like rock memorabilia. Had a bunch of guitars, if memory serves, and he certainly was in the height and prime of his life when he was as an owner of the Indianapolis Colts. Was certainly good for a quote. Was certainly good for rocking the boat. Like I mean, Jeffrey O'Brien is. I'm certain will have a lot of possibly good, more so bad stories about Jim Irsay and his personal experience as we are all beholden to our sports owners, in some way, even if it's just over control of our fandom. But yeah, I think he's one of the more
psychological there.
Absolutely, I know.
Yep.
He's one of the more notable owners. Like he was like, I think if you were to go down the list of NFL owners, I was only probably ever able to go like 4 deep. And I think Jim Irsay was one of those. Jim Irsay of the Colts, maybe like Arthur Blank. I think
I was thinking Arthur Blank. Yeah.
Robert
Jerry
Kraft,
Jones.
I'd say would be one of them. Jerry Jones. Now we're getting. I mean, well, I guess the easy one would be the Green Bay Packers being owned by everybody.
The public.
Yeah, by the public. Yeah,
Right,
sure.
right.
Yeah, with the,
If you count that.
Yeah, I know it's kind of a weird one.
Rooney, possibly.
That's Rooney. Yeah, the Rooney family. I don't even think is it Art Rooney like the 17th. They have like a English, providential thing going on over there.
It's like the Royal Kingdom.
And then I think the Cincinnati Bengals, they have an interesting lineage over there too. So and Shad Khan. So I mean,
Shad Khan, yeah.
So maybe like I know a third, like if my life depended on it, a third. Jim Irsay is survived by his daughter. So now we get to the weird section of who's going to own the Colts next, because usually the way that these things happen, and we're going to see it now with previously this iteration, the matriarch of the Chicago Bears just recently passed as well. So we've got a couple of open ownership spots that I wonder, because Jim Irsay was one of the more involved owners during his time.
He was. Maybe
more recently. I don't know if he was as involved, but I know that I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I know Jeffrey O'Brien, I believe, attributed a lot of his consternation and his strife with how Andrew Luck's career played out
with Jim Irsay.
Was on Jim Irsay, and that he he didn't get a better GM, that he hired a friend, that he hired a guy who just completely mismanaged the team. That Andrew Luck was the single rising tide that made the entire organization go to the playoffs. So yeah, Jim Irsay is going to have an interesting career. I think certainly beloved for the one Super Bowl that he did own and preside over.
2006, yeah.
Absolutely.
There's something we call, I'm going to coin this term to you, Phil, and I'm going to call it situation proof. I think there are only 3 quarterbacks ever you could truly call situation proof. Peyton Manning, I think you put that guy in any situation, it thrives.
He was going to win one.
He was going to win anywhere he went.
He was definitely going to win one no matter where he went, even to the Jaguars.
Yep. Worst case scenario, he would have found a way. And you could say you could say winning 2 Super Bowls was like on the worst end of what could have happened with him.
I'm on that line. Yeah.
Yep. So Peyton Manning, I think you could say Cam Newton is on this tier, like prime Cam Newton. I'm not saying like Cam Newton is in that tier. Andrew Luck, I think, is in that tier as well. Andrew Luck under Jim Irsay had one of the worst situations. His offensive line wasn't great.
Horrible.
He was
Andrew
under
Luck was
duress constantly.
You could you could bet that Andrew Luck was going to get 3 sacks a game and be on the over on that multiple times throughout the majority of time. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that's why you're carrying so much cash, Phil. Did you bet on that?
Oh, I had a good decade.
You had a good run.
Andrew Luck, yeah.
You had a good bookie. But Jim Irsay he didn't necessarily put the pieces around it, but nonetheless, I like Jim Irsay. He was very transparent about what he went through and his addictions, I think, in the past. And so he overcame that. That's super cool to see. He's very transparent about that. So inspirational figure. Yes, was very involved, Phil. And he is on that short list of probably 10 NFL owners or so that if you put me at gunpoint and say, Harris, name 10 NFL owners, Jim Irsay would be one of the top 5 that would come up. And so, yeah, Phil, very known figure, did a lot for the Colts. And look, the disease of more, as Pat Riley calls it, Phil, the disease of more. When you want one, you want that second, even more than you wanted that one. And then you want that third and fourth. And then it's just a nonstop thing. Look, Andy, I'm saying this transparently as a Tennessee Titans fan. Be thankful that you got your one.
Absolutely. Well, Baker's Cocky Hands is on the text line. And situation proof, Browns, the Cleveland Browns are exempt from that status. Elway is the only one who could have saved them, and that's because he single-handedly beat them.
98, yeah,
absolutely.
the drive.
You know, I hate to say it, but I feel like the Browns are exempt from like somebody
Anything.
coming in and saving them from themselves.
It's impossible. No one can do it.
Yeah, Peyton Manning might have gotten to like dominance, to be like what we probably now associate with the Steelers, where it's like, oh, you usually give reverence and respect to the Steelers because they may not win the division every year, but you feel like they're a force. They probably could have been that with Peyton Manning, but you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Moist One, he texts in a picture of a very fun selection of Jim Irsay's historical texts. And it chronicles the highlighted life that Jim Irsay had, and possibly part of the reason why he did not go past 65. I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, Jim Irsay lived a fun life, man.
He lived a fun life.
God bless him. All right.
He did.
Well, since we're speaking about the NFL, let's go along to something else. We earlier in the show talked about the MVP. Is it subjective? Is it one of those open definitions of the word? What is valuable? The NFL is creating an award that really doesn't have much wiggle room, and I think I've gone back and forth on it.
Okay,
but the NFL introduces the award for the offensive lineman, quote unquote, protector of the year.
Oh, Phil, I freaking love this.
You love this.
I am all over this. This is one of the best things the NFL has done. Like, honestly, I've thought this forever. And I'm gonna get a little bit hot takey here.
Oh, hot takey. I thought you were gonna say weepy.
Weepy.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm not gonna get weepy. And then, no, I could have after the whole Jim Irsay stuff, but
Yeah.
I restrained. Maybe Jeffrey is. I will say this, Phil. The NFL should implement more of this. You know how in
What is this?
baseball they have a Cy Young for pitchers?
Yeah.
I think they should have a Cy Young for quarterbacks. And you
Oh.
call it the Peyton Manning Award.
So far, I'm with you. I like this. Yeah.
Yep. And I think this should exist for more position groups. The NHL does this with the Vezina, I think it's how you pronounce it, the best goalie. I love that they do that. I love that football is doing this for the protector of the year because, Phil, offensive linemen are the foundation of your team. They are so important to your success. They are what holds the fort together and get no credit. It's time that ends, Phil. It's time that ends and offensive linemen get the credit that they deserve. That's why I love this award.
One thing that I will go with you on is that I enjoy that this will broaden the popularity of, if not good offensive lines, good offensive linemen. Because currently, right now, essentially, if you get on either an All-Pro or even just a Pro Bowl, as at your position for a lineman, then you are pretty much entrenched in there for a good 5 years because people do not know, and I understand why, because it's such a group, it's such a unit together. People do not know how to properly rate and gauge how good or bad a lineman is until they see the end result. And even then, it's probably only if you follow a team and you're watching every game of them and you can be like, yeah, our guard is terrible. And like, that's why the defensive tackle was able to go through, because our center was helping the guard on his assignment. And then the other guard was left alone on an island and he, all this stuff.
Oh yeah.
So what I like about this is that it brings clarity towards a very under-recognized, because I wouldn't say underappreciated, but an under-recognized position in the NFL that is certainly not a highlight position to where people can easily identify good or bad quite as easily as like a running back per se, right? Like everybody's like Saquon Barkley was spinning around his back to a player and just jumped up. Like, yeah, he's really good. Jason Kelce, like we're all like, yeah, that's a Hall of Famer. First ballot.
Oh, 100%.
But where's his highlight package? maybe a few pancakes here and there, but and probably being the key cog of starting out the push tush.
Yep.
But other than that, like it's very hard unless you are a name, unless you are a Trent Williams and your contract and your payment merits attention.
Yep.
It's very hard for the common fan to go out and identify, oh, you know who's really good? Jackson O'Toole over there in Jacksonville, who's just their right guard, and he's incredible. Like nobody really knows that.
Because here's the thing, Phil. When your team is playing well and your quarterback is protected, your offensive line is not noticed. When your quarterback is under duress
Excellent point.
and under pressure, the offensive line is heavily noticed. So when an offensive lineman is playing extremely well, it's not because he's making a crazy highlight reel or whatever it be. It's because he's simply doing his job.
More succinctly, if you are doing your job, there is nothing, nobody will notice it.
Yep.
There's no way, like people will not be like, oh, really?
Yeah.
No,
only the like football guys.
Yeah, you're only noticed if you're failing at your job.
Yep.
And so it's like a no-win situation. Absolutely.
This changes that.
I am curious. It says that the winner of this now yearly award will be decided by a panel that includes a number of former offensive line greats. I'd be interested on who that is because some of the offensive linemen, I'd be like, well, they probably like, especially depending on how current the panel is, some of them might hold grudges.
Yeah.
Some of them might not be in favor of certain guys. And then especially if you're talking about like now recent teammates, because of how much of a group the big boys on the offensive line are, they may
It's a brotherhood.
Absolutely. They might be like, oh, you know what, that guy, I consistently had to hold his hand every time we went to pass to a slant in the middle of the route because he just simply could not hold up to the pressure. I'd be interested to see like that panel. I'd be interested to see who's on it. But yeah, absolutely.
Andrew Whitworth, I think, might be on it. Deion Dawkins of the Buffalo Bills.
Player?
Yeah, he's the one that has been pushing it. Deion Dawkins was pushing it. So, wow. He could be on it. So it's a matter of those guys have been pushing it. It could be decided. We don't know ultimately. But there is one thing, Phil, and you brought up a good point here. In the NBA, when, they've recently done this polling, most overrated NBA player, most underrated NBA player, yada, 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 all that. Tyrese Halliburton was voted the most overrated NBA player. Is that because he is genuinely overrated, or is that because there's bad blood? Because after seeing what we've seen in these NBA playoffs, I'd assume that it might be because of bad blood. It might be because people don't like that guy. So, therefore, my point is a personal grudge is what got Tyrese Halliburton there. It wasn't because he was genuinely overrated. It was because there were some guys that maybe didn't like him too much. It could have been the same thing with Draymond Green. Could it be the same thing with this NFL award, with the Protector of the Year? Because when you don't have writers and media guys, which, let's not pretend they don't hold grudges either. I mean, that can happen. When guys aren't as transparent to the media, that can affect their chances of winning notable awards that are voted by writers. That being said, yes, there could be, and there is a possibility that these players are not of sober mind when deciding who should win this award. I'll say that. And just like Tyrese Halliburton in the NBA. So that does concern me a little bit, Phil.
Yeah, I'd be wondering if there's an agenda, but because the field is so vast and because,
massive,
it's not just like the best guard. It's not going to be the best center. It's not going to be the best tackle. Although I'd imagine the favorite for every year would go to the tackle.
Yeah.
I don't know. But so we're talking about offensive line, and I think that we'll go back on the other side of this break and talk about a very heavy, intensive offensive line play that did not. That's making news because it did not get banned. We'll talk more about that on the Daily Blender on 1580 AM, The Fanatic.
Get our free app and listen to the Daily Blender everywhere you go. Get it today, wherever you get your favorite apps.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40, and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-694-1010. That's 1-800-694-1010. Or go to selectquote.com to get your free quote today. 1-800-694-1010. Details on example rate at selectquote.com.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Arizona. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342. T&Cs apply. Available in app only.
Not another one.
26-year-old male wasn't wearing his seatbelt.
How's the driver in the other vehicle?
Yeah, thankfully she's okay. She had her seatbelt on.
It's really sad. You know, these tragedies are entirely preventable.
It said click it or ticket, but for some, they should be so lucky. Besides getting a ticket or a fine, the consequences could take your life. So don't risk it. Click it or ticket. This message is brought to you by NHTSA.
Are you looking for career opportunities with great benefits and job growth? How about the chance to make an impact? What we do here at the City of Phoenix matters. 14,000 employees and counting, all dedicated to making a difference in the communities where they live, work, and play. So come join us. Help us do work that makes Phoenix work. You can see all open positions and apply at phoenix.gov/jobs. This message is sponsored by the City of Phoenix.
What a time we live in. Self-driving cars, AI writing emails for us, complete meals that get delivered to our door. You can even listen to your favorite Fanatic radio shows for free. Ah, yes, it truly is the greatest time to be alive. Download the free 1580 The Fanatic app. Get it wherever you get your favorite apps today.
It's the Daily Blender on 1580 The Fanatic. We're back here. You can hit us up at the text line 888-368-1580. I am, of course, Triple H here with my partner in crime, Phil the Thrill, whatever you want to call him, Filthy Phil. He's got a plethora of nicknames. But, Phil, we're talking about the offensive lineman of the year. And one thing that really hit me is we were talking about if it was valid that players should be the ones, former players should be the ones deciding this. And I talked about how Tyrese Halliburton may have gotten a bad draw when players voted him the most overrated player in the league, and it has turned out to be wrong. He's proved it. That being said, Phil, there's just something different about evaluating an offensive lineman that I don't think that writers are able to do. I think this award should be determined by former players because evaluating an offensive lineman is just so much different than any other position. You have to know the game of football, but I'd love to hear your opinion on this.
Well, I definitely think that it would be a very hard task. Like, how do I word this? I feel like it's somewhat easy and apparent to determine who an MVP of a season, of a series, of a finals is in basketball because limited amount of players on the court, right? Not 53, not that there's 53 players on the field, but a 53-man roster that you have to then know. And also there's a lot going on and a lot of orchestration on the field of play in order to get a play to successfully move forward, right? So because of that, I think I would lean more towards only former players going forward, or maybe even if not former players, you had to have at least been in the NFL and associated on a training coaching staff towards the offensive line. Like I need you to have some idea of like if a play just blew up.
Yeah.
Like I need you to be able to tell me who was truly at fault as opposed to, like, I don't know, like, was this person not calling out the right protection? Was this person, did this person call out a bad protection? Like, did this person, or even maybe even harder still is if you're talking about like, who do we think is the best offensive line currently in football? It's probably the Detroit Lions
or the Eagles,
right? Yeah, absolutely.
One other.
And determining who is the reason for such dominance, I think is much harder than looking towards the 49ers and saying, well, when Trent Williams is out, that offensive line is bad. So I think
left tackle suffers.
Right. So I think it is helpful in truly non-apparent cases to where either there's massive success or a lot of strife to determine. Like, look, we talked about the Cleveland Browns, right? Like Joel Bitonio, I believe, was a player.
Bitonio,
yeah. Joe Thomas was another one where it's like
Tooney was there too. Yeah.
Tooney, yeah. You see a lot of like people are like massive respect for these Cleveland Browns offensive lines, even though there's not a lot of success, there's not a lot of winning, there's not a lot of great offensive output, but the offensive line is talented. It's like doing well. I need somebody who can identify that talent, who's not actively trying to acquire talent from said team as another team looking in free agency. That's who I want.
Right. So, there's some truth to that for sure. There's some truth to that, Phil. But we're going to move on because yesterday was a significant day in football because Phil, the tush push lives. It lives. I am so excited about this.
You're excited?
Oh, I'm pumped.
You're wrong.
What?
What
why am I wrong? Why am I wrong? Let's hear it.
Because by definition, we did not have the requisite amount of votes needed in order to overturn this.
I love how you say we.
Yeah, we as the collective correct side of this debate, we did not get the right amount of votes. But keep in mind, out of 32 teams, only 10 voted to not ban it. Meaning we did have a majority. Meaning the majority of teams did in fact say, for whatever their reason and rationale, they said, hey, we should ban this. Like we are pro banning this. Now, granted, there are reports about Jeffrey Lurie going up there and going on an hour-long, the owner of the Philadelphia Eagles, going on an hour-long tirade, making inappropriate analogies as to the success of either of it's a win-win situation, whether or not the tush push got banned. And obviously they voted against banning it. I think that, whatever the success of the Eagles are, how do I word this? I feel it is fine to not come off of a Super Bowl winning season where the Philadelphia Eagles successfully employed that to win the championship, not only because of that, but as an aspect of what they did. I think it is fine to go one more season, pray to the sports gods that the Philadelphia Eagles don't go back to back and then revisit this next offseason and then be able to ban it, because I do not want to be in a world where we have to live with Philadelphia Eagles fans who then get an entire rest of the sports careerdom to say we were so darn good they had to outlaw what innovation we brought to the sport. When it's like, at the end of the day, Harris, it's a health hazard. And more importantly, even where that conversation should stop, it's not entertaining.
It's a health hazard. Oh, man. You know what? This reminds me of when in college when Lou Alcindor was at UCLA, and then they said, gosh, you're so good, you can't dunk. We're going to outlaw dunking. We're going to outlaw it. So you're saying you don't want Eagles fans and the Eagles themselves to have that merit because they would outlaw the tush push because it's, oh, man. Well, partially due to injuries, but look at the teams that voted on this.
Who voted against banning it?
Who voted against banning it? The Ravens, Patriots, Lions, Jets. I don't know why the Jets.
Yeah,
I don't know why the Jets voted, but no teams used the QB sneak more than the Eagles. They ran it 122 times since 2022. Bills 74, Steelers 55, and guess who's fourth? Your beloved Denver Broncos of 52 times.
I know that they betrayed me.
Yeah. So I think there might be some subjectivity in how teams have voted for this, because the teams that voted against it, some of them, other than the Jets, are ones that rely on it. So people might be thinking about more than just the good of the game here.
Well, okay. So if we look at the list of teams that voted against banning it, Philadelphia Eagles, duh, right? Makes sense. Even the Baltimore Ravens, who, like, you wouldn't think necessarily Lamar Jackson would be employing this because he's not to the full physical stature that Jalen Hurts is. He is certainly more mobile than Jalen Hurts is, but he certainly gets injured a lot more than Jalen Hurts does, or at least more to where he can actually sit out. But they certainly have a backup quarterback that is mobile, probably more stack and stature quarterbacks there. But so they have mobility in their blood. It kind of makes sense. The other one that doesn't make sense to me is Detroit Lions, where it's like Jared Goff.
Doesn't make sense to you?
It does not. Like, why are they banning the tush push when Jared Goff is like the least mobile player in the entire world, and he's certainly not built enough to withstand that type of play style. So I can at least applaud the Detroit Lions for saying, you know what, just on its merit, just on how we perceive the play to be as a foundational thing. Like, we want that option available to us in the future should we ever get a franchise quarterback that we can use that with. I can at least respect that idea. Where I think the conversation starts and ends is that it's just not entertaining. Like, you look at the Philadelphia Eagles and that play comes up, it is akin to what a PAT was before they made the changes and pushed the where they kick off the PAT currently. It's a foregone conclusion. Like, the Buffalo Bills it was a foregone conclusion until the playoffs, and that's where everybody's going to say, well, see, it didn't matter. But it's not entertaining. It's not to see two teams not know as a viewer where the ball actually is, and as a viewer look at two sides of the ball going into a scrum where it feels dirty, where like you're looking at it and you're like,
oh, it's football.
No, it's not
football, Phil.
It's not.
Stop it.
It's not what is attractive to the
Stop
sport,
it.
and it's not entertaining.
Was that a Charmin Soft commercial playing? Oh man. Oh, Phil. It's football. I disagree with you.
It's not
here.
football. You know why I know it's not football?
Why is it
Because
not
this
football?
is just coming into play. Like, at least with the you brought up the thing about Lou Alcindor. That made sense because it is still at its base scoring the basket. It is still dunking, and at least you have connection to the hoop, and it shows off, and it is entertaining to see a person dunk. In fact, it is one of the biggest reasons why we bemoan the current state of the NBA, where there is a lack of electricity, of energy, and we bemoan the fact that Anthony Edwards is like the most athletic current NBA superstar we have right now, and he doesn't dunk anymore. Like, that is something that we derive a great amount of pleasure from.
Yeah.
This. What is entertaining about this?
Oh, come on. A bunch of men running into each other for the sake of a yard, or plowing into each other. Moist one, don't do it.
No.
Plowing into each other. Come on, Phil. It doesn't get more football than that. It doesn't get more football than that.
Look, I think if we're going to be taking a barometer and we're going to be seeing how this plays out, I think the fact that 22 of the 32 teams voted against it means we are closer to than not of banning it. I think it will be next season that they're going to continue to push this. I think they're going to continue to campaign against this. I don't know that the Philadelphia Eagles will ever let go of the gas on this one, and will continue to try on their side as well. And we'll see if the vast majority of teams can somehow recruit somebody like the Miami Dolphins, just get them into just say, hey, Mr. Ross, why don't you come over here? This is what Tom Brady from Michigan, since you both are Michigan alum, this is what he would have voted. Like, I don't know how you do it.
Yeah.
But all you need is like what, two more in order to change, and then it's banned. I feel like once the Super Bowl effect, once the Super Bowl aura and the glitz and the glamour that comes from the Philadelphia Eagles and giving them a way to remove that we could have won 7 Super Bowls in a row if it wasn't for the fact that they banned the field that whatever. Once that is removed from the equation, then we will see a banning of the tush push going forward. Are you in an agreement that at least that's where it's headed?
I am in agreement that that's where it's headed. I think it can get the main reason the Eagles are so for this, I think, is their O-line coach, Jeff Stoutland, who is the most underrated coach in the whole NFL. By the way,
Consistently, the Eagles do have a tremendous offensive line year in and year out.
breed Hall of Famers on that offensive line. And there are some franchises who haven't produced an offensive line Hall of Famer ever, not one time. So I think that plays a huge part of it.
Swave Dave on the text line saying, Diamondback Dude saying, as usual, Phil is the wet blanket on my tush push parade. The tush push is most definitely a football play, and it is lame that the league wants to ban something just because they have not figured out a way to stop it. Tough cookies. Swave Dave says, Phil, if someone could design a play to maybe have the ball given directly to a running back and the whole team just pushed him forward, would that make a difference? I think at least in that scenario, at least I have a hike, and then we can do, I think there's a lot of fun things that we can do, but just having two opposing lines of football players ram into each other is just simply not entertaining. That's where I lay the foundation of my argument.
Yeah, I agree, Phil. All this O-line talk, I love it. Coming up more, we got a lot more, folks. Stay tuned. It's the Daily Blender on 1580 The Fanatic.
It's your captain speaking. To the passenger with the Mirror Fast Soft Chew, Mark move.
No way am I letting travel constipation ruin this trip.
Can't blame you. Mirror Fast works fast, but without the harsh side effects.
Since I'm such a smart traveler, can I move to first class?
No. Close the curtain, Carol.
From the makers of Miralax, new Mirafast soft chews work naturally with your body in as little as 30 minutes to give you a comfortable go on the go. Look for Mirafast at Walmart today. Use as directed for occasional constipation. Contains magnesium hydroxide.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-8695. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-8695. That's 800-575-8695. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, and it's no surprise. Same game parlay from Bet365 just keeps getting better.
Well, it's even easier to make a bet. Choose from the most popular markets like hits, run line, totals, and home runs. So many to choose from.
Download the app, start building your bet, and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Arizona. T&Cs apply.
Not another one.
26-year-old male, wasn't wearing a seatbelt.
How's the driver in the other vehicle?
Yeah, thankfully she's okay. She had her seatbelt on.
It's really sad. You know, these tragedies are entirely preventable.
It's said, click it or ticket. But for some, they should be so lucky. Besides getting a ticket or a fine, the consequences could take your life. So don't risk it. Click it or ticket. This message is brought to you by NHTSA.
Forgot something inside or picking up food from the store? Never leave a child in a car. In Arizona, heat stroke can happen in seconds. Temperatures can rise 20 degrees in just 10 minutes, making a vehicle dangerously hot. Heat stroke can happen even in the shade or when it's below 60 degrees outside. Once you park, always remember to stop, look, and lock. Visit heatstroke.az.gov to learn more. This message is sponsored by the Governor's Office of Highway Safety.
KQFN Tempe. Also transmitting on K257CD Phoenix at 99.3 FM and K240 EU Mountain Hills at 95.9 FM.
It's time for the third hour.
Quiet, people, settle down because it's time.
For what?
Showtime.
When does it start?
Right now. 3, 2, 1.
Let's get on with the show.
Let's do it.
Hello,
everybody. Welcome back to the Daily Blender on 1580 AM The Fanatic. I am, of course, Filthy Phil filling in for the Jeffrey O'Brien and Randy White combo, who are both bemoaning and mourning the loss of a beloved Jim Irsay, the Colts owner. Of course, that is Triple H over there in the production room, running the show, running the tunes, running it all. We are here pre-gaming prior to the Oklahoma City Thunder and what we both predict to be another blowout win? Or do you think it'll be closer this time?
It'll be a little bit closer, but I expect Oklahoma City to be on the winning end.
Yeah, I think that's where we
Mr.
both
Phil.
agree. I don't know. I'd have to look at what the spread is, but
We're always in sync, Phil. Look at us.
I love it.
Always in sync.
love
Not these two boomers to get in our way.
Oh, jeez.
They're gonna kill me. for
Yeah,
that.
I was gonna say whenever the record comes out that I want it on said record. I did not say that. That was not my words. Triple H is a lone gunman on the hill.
I'm untamed. I've been let out my cage.
Of this conspiracy theory that I am not a party of. I am not privy to that. All right, Moist One on the text line, continuing our talk about the tush push and not getting banned, says if they are gonna allow the tush push, they need to allow defensive players to push against it. Imagine Levante David pushing into Vita Vea. And you know what? I wonder, because I feel right now the only method upon which teams can even offer themselves a chance about defeating the tush push. Like if you're in middle of the field and everything else, and we saw it in the playoffs, and nobody wanted to do it because nobody wanted to employ it in case they faced the Eagles in the playoffs, yada yada. But we saw it with the Washington Commanders linebacker trying to time the count, trying to just jump it and then get an unfair advantage. I mean, do you know the extent upon which I've researched this and why this exists, why it's so effective and all this stuff? I went to Neil deGrasse Tyson's explanation of it, and he said essentially what it boils down to is just that the fact that both are in a winnable area, but what gives the advantage and why it's so successful is because the offensive linemen know when the push is happening.
I was just about to say that.
So because of
They can time it.
that unfair advantage, that advantage, I should say, allows the offensive line to get to start at an unfavorable time for the defense. And of course, whenever you also add in the fact that the Philadelphia Eagles were the biggest offensive line of like all recorded history of all time. I mean, you just, all these factors lead to an absurd rate of success on the part of the Philadelphia Eagles. And I think because of the massive rate of success and hit rate for that play, I think that I don't care which flavor you use. If you're an opposing team, whether or not because it's so successful, whether or not because it feels like it's going to get somebody severely hurt at some point, or whether or not it's my biggest gripe with it is that it's just boring football, then I don't care which one you want, but go to the Baskin Robbins thing and order yourself a 3 scoop of that one and gobble it all down. This needs to get banned.
Well, I actually have the stats right here, Phil. I was really wondering what is got some fun facts. Oh, it is past my bedtime. Anyway, here's what we got here. 87% when executed by the Philadelphia Eagles. That's their success rate. 87%.
Yeah.
That's freaking high. So you make a great point there.
Especially when it's employed, Harris. Don't forget, lest we forget, these are usually employed in high leverage situations. Like it keeps a drive alive. Like they very rarely have they ever employed the tush push at the start of a drive, although they should with how many yards that they gain with each employment of it. But yes, continue.
The league-wide success rate for the play is 71%, according to ESPN data.
Okay.
The Bills are second in the league with an 86% success rate.
Yeah, especially primarily in the regular season. Yes.
So what you're saying, your logic, your thesis, if you will, is it's too overpowered of a play. So therefore it should be banned because it puts the offensive player at an unfair advantage.
I want to maintain that I think it just because of the lack of entertainment, because it offers you, even if you're just Roger Goodell and you're saying, where's the time where my viewer feels like they are allowed to go get of refill on their nacho cheese for their nacho platter, when is that time that they feel like they can do it? And if it's during the offensive portion of the game, if it's when a team is driving down the field, like it's one thing if it's during special teams, it's another if it's during an actual like where the most entertainment and most like locked in you should be as a fan. If it's during this time where it's like, oh, they're going to do a tush push, good. I have some time to go to the bathroom. I have some time to go get another leg for my rotisserie chicken, whatever that is for you, Harris. That is when it is. So I want to make sure that I emphasize that it's for the entertainment part of it. And also for the high rate of success, yes, as well.
Okay. For the entertainment part, I disagree with. I think it's a very entertaining football play. For the high rate of success, I can see your point there because there's something about when you stop a guy and you stuff him. Like, let's say Jalen Hurts is going.
Stuff him. Like, get him like a Thanksgiving turkey. Yeah,
you stuff him. And then that offensive player comes and then pushes him. Yeah, Thanksgiving turkey. That offensive player comes in and he pushes him. Well, that's a little bit to me like you failed your mission as the offense, and then you got lucky because someone came behind and pushed you there. You as the quarterback failed. The play was stuffed. So that argument, Phil, I actually agree with. The entertainment aspect, I highly disagree with that.
Do you watch sumo wrestling on your off time, Harris?
Not sumo wrestling, but my roommates are, I don't know if we can talk about this on the show, but they're pretty big WWE guys. So
well, we can now that we are.
No,
yeah, completely different. Do you know why they watch WWE and not sumo wrestling?
Why?
Because sumo wrestling is over in like 2 seconds, and it's just two guys pushing against each other, and then it's over.
Oh yeah.
Like
yeah,
when you've seen one sumo wrestling match, you've seen pretty much darn near them all. WWE exists because not only can I win just by pinning the guy, I can win by submission.
Have you seen?
I can win by hitting him in the head with a chair.
Oh,
that's entertainment, Harris. You just made my point. Thank you.
No, I did.
Thank
You. I looked at the numbers, Phil, and you brought up a good point. The entertaining aspect, though, dude.
You're gonna just die on that hill, aren't you?
No, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die on it. I'm a stubborn mule, man. It's hard sometimes to move me, but the first one, you moved me. You came with your research, Phil. And I have to respect it. You did. Now, the sumo wrestling point. There's so much more of an art in football than there is in sumo wrestling. Just two guys, big guys, who are probably too big, plowing into each other, and then just, last one down wins, or however it works, and just sitting on top of them. It's more than that. I think the tush push, it's about matchups, and it's about timing it correctly. And there is a certain strategy. There's a certain element as a defensive player to say, hey, maybe, if you can tell when he's going to time it, maybe there's tendencies on film, and this implements a new type of angle about it, Phil. The strategy of it, because you can watch on film, and you can see it's like watching a receiver run his route. When you're like, ooh, you can tell where he goes, because typically when he dips his shoulder in, that means he's about to explode inside to the left. You can tell maybe when a quarterback has a certain movement, or a running back, whoever's running it, whoever's pushing you, has a certain movement. Then as the linebacker, ooh, you can see that, and then you yourself can time it. So there is some strategy to it.
Again, I do not find it entertaining to watch a live version of tug of war, and then all right, so this team's going to know when to start tugging, and then you get to react. Like it just feels
don't do it once.
It feels unfair. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, talking about hard jobs, I did see this story.
Okay.
On air.
Yeah.
Apparently, over in Albany, New York, CBS 6 anchor Olivia Jaquith is how I'm going to pronounce it.
Jaquith
went into labor live on air.
Oh my gosh. Are you
now,
serious?
I know that there is a high stress factor to our job whenever we're over there producing the show. Jeffrey demands perfection as well. He should.
Yep.
And there's a lot of it's an intense pressure cooker.
Yeah.
But I cannot imagine having to do this show while actively going through labor, because apparently she was a real trooper.
Did she get through it?
Yeah, she continued on during the show.
Are you serious?
I'm trying to see whether or not she co-anchored the entire broadcast.
Oh
that
my
morning.
gosh.
And also the other one that I have, and maybe this is a bit personal. Her co-anchor was there just saying, kicked it off saying, "Oh yeah, we have breaking news." Literally, my co-anchor just her water broke. Harris,
Phil,
I know it's different because you're a guy. But if you were
As are you.
As a yes, thank you.
Anytime, Phil.
But if you were to, well, I don't know what is whatever the male equivalent is of have your water break while we're like recording the Fanatic.
It's like when our sports team loses.
I don't think that's true. But if you were to have something like that, I would be glad at that point in time that there was a glass between us because there's a bodily function that occurred here. There's a biohazard situation occurring here that I'm just not comfortable continuing on in my current workspace while that's happening. Like I can't even imagine the scenario that exists where this is happening live on air and live on broadcast, on that particular case. So I guess, all in all, kudos to this woman for continuing on.
I couldn't do it.
Empowering through. I couldn't either. I mean,
no way.
I have you ever been around a person who is, gone into labor or giving birth or anything else?
I have never been around a person who's gone into labor, but actually, I have a story for you.
Please.
My girlfriend at the current moment, the one that Jeffrey and Randy
Harris,
believe.
I'm so happy for you.
No, Phil. One who Jeffrey and Randy believe does not exist. And I've tried to tell him. It's
going to be much harder to have a make-believe baby, a child, than just a girlfriend here.
An invisible baby. Yeah, I know, Phil. So she was in Argentina, and she was actually just telling me about this. This girl went into labor, and all of a sudden, they're like, oh my gosh, I don't actually know exactly what happens, what protocol is. It's like, we got to get her to the hospital, right? And so they try to call these certain ambulances or whatever to come for some type of reason. And this is just me getting off what she told me. This is me I'm the messenger here.
Okay.
And they get no response. They call these hospitals. Shows how blessed we are in America, by the way, in terms of we have people that are willing, bam, they'll be there.
Sure.
Yeah. Gets nothing. And so she's like,
so
shoot.
she's no meds at all while giving birth to this kid.
Nothing.
Oh, wow.
And so she's like, oh, shoot, I'm going to have to help out and birth this baby.
Your girlfriend?
My girlfriend.
So she's there in the
She's
firing
there
range.
in Argentina.
Oh, wow.
When this is going to happen.
Uh-huh.
And so then she was fully prepared. And she was texting me I was at my brother's graduation, college graduation.
This is recent? Why is your girlfriend in Argentina?
This is a week ago.
Did you upset her that much?
No, she teaches English.
Does she hate the
to Spanish
mustache
kids.
that much?
No, she doesn't hate it. Actually, it's quite the opposite.
That's what
Phil.
brought her back.
It's
from
quite the
Argentina?
that's what's bringing her back, Phil. She really likes it. Anyway, my parents, on the other hand, not so much.
Oh.
I was telling Jeffrey and Randy, I showed it to my mom, and she said her words were, that is not how a Southern gentleman is supposed to present himself. So she didn't like it, Phil.
Oh, I like your mother.
Yeah.
So again, I do need this clarification.
Continuing the story.
Yeah,
Yes,
please.
continuing the story. So actually, ironically enough, right when it was about to happen, the hospital they call another hospital, and they end up coming over.
On the walkie-talkie, the standard hospital walkie-talkie.
Right, on the walkie. Yep. And so they end up coming over and helping her birth the baby. But I don't remember exactly how we got on this subject, but the story goes to say, she said, she was telling me, that's right, the pain that she saw her in, it scared her. It startled her. She's like, oh my gosh.
That is one way to get rid of baby fever.
Yep. It's a good one. She's like, oh my gosh, this is insane. And so she was telling me that. And so back to your original point about the girl being in labor, I couldn't imagine. I could not imagine doing that.
So does your girlfriend make it a habitual monthly trip of you know what? I got to go help somebody give birth in Argentina every month or something?
She's on a mission trip.
Oh, she's
mission
on a
trip.
Okay,
Yep. She's on a mission trip. Yep.
Got it. I got it now. Okay.
Yep. So the mustache actually is it's bringing her back, Phil. Let me tell you, the stash is alive. But anyway, that goes to say, kudos to that woman, because that is the craziest thing. So after it happened, did she was she still doing the whole thing? Was she still doing her whole script, or was it just the co-anchor?
From my understanding, she gave birth to a baby boy with her husband named Tin. I don't know why we get his name. But
Tin.
apparently she followed through with the entire segment. Apparently,
gosh.
the graphics team, while she was going on this, was having a field day. Apparently, doing like past due date number 2. At the end of they close it with like, "Here comes baby P. Good luck." All this stuff.
Dude,
It's astounding. Like
that is wild.
I've had to call out of shows for an upset stomach off of bad salmon the night before. Like I couldn't imagine giving birth during it.
No, I couldn't imagine doing that either. Oh my goodness, Phil, that is remarkable. Wow.
So we were
What a
talking.
story.
We were talking earlier about the NFL,
Yes, of
and
course.
one of these, as with these league meetings that happen and occur,
Yes.
it is one of the ones that was possibly going to happen was a reseeding of the playoffs. Now
Mhm.
we haven't heard any news that that's what's going to happen, and I was somebody of the mindset that I really liked and enjoyed that the first 4 seeds of the NFL on either conference were guaranteed not only being eligible to play in the playoffs, regardless of your wins, as long as you won your division, but also that you got to host a first round playoff matchup within the playoffs. I was in favor of that. It felt like anything short of that felt like doing a disservice to the regular season and what that means for the goals and making the regular season actually matter for the NFL.
For sure.
That being said, even though it didn't happen in the NFL, the college football playoff, which expanded this past year, we finally got to see put pen to paper and got to see the results of how the expanded playoff format would work, did decide to remaneuver their playoff model.
Yep.
And I do think that there is a difference in how both sides worked on this and how they maneuvered on this.
Yep.
And I am okay. I am in favor of the college football playoff moving to have a new straight seeding model. So meaning that if you win your conference, if you are one of the qualifying conference winners, you get guaranteed into the playoff. That's fine.
Yep.
But if you fall short of that, you will if you fall short of that, you will be entered into the playoffs based off of your record. Like you will be placed according to your record / seeding based on the
Or based off of where the committee
where
ranks
the
you.
committee ranks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I got to say, I think that the reason why this went through to such an immediate effect is probably an indictment on Oregon and how Dan Lanning and his team just completely bit the bed against an Ohio State team that went on to win it all. But a bunch of people were saying, why is this happening so early in the playoffs as opposed to later on? It feels a bit unfair to both teams that they have to have a championship caliber playoff matchup this early into the thing, as opposed to a Texas program that gets to play against a woe-begotten Arizona State team, which actually turned out to be a much tougher game than anybody predicted.
Yep. Forks up, by the way. But we can talk about this for, honestly, Phil, holy crap, the entire show about all the issues with college football and college sports and the playoff as a whole. I am a supporter of the 6 team. I believe the playoff should be 6 teams at the most. But anyway, in terms of what we were talking about before, I'm in support of the straight seeding model based off of this climate and this layout of college football that we have. There are 2 conferences that are just clearly and notably better than the rest. I'll tell you one thing I'm not necessarily in support of is college football is thinking of the playoff is thinking of doing a 4-4-2-2-1 format, I believe, which is Big 10 and SEC get 4, ACC, Big 12 get 2, Group of 5 gets 1, probably Notre Dame get 1, and so. I'm not in support of that because I think that the SEC should get the most teams by far. I will say that. But
your Tennessee fandom is showing.
Oh, it's showing. It just means more, Phil. It just.
But
means
I do
more.
agree. I do agree. The SEC. I am a SEC truther as well.
Are you really?
I am.
Oh,
I did think Alabama should have gotten in last season.
Do you really? Them are Ole Miss. You could argue South Carolina. You could argue too. It's yeah. I think you got to beat someone to get in. But let me give you this. You talked about the reseeding. Oregon last year won the Big 10. Who were they dealt with? Oh, Ohio State, the winner of Ohio State and Tennessee. Penn State lost the Big 10. You know who they played? They played Boise State and SMU. Boise State and SMU, Phil. Come on.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't feel comparative, right? It doesn't feel fair for either side.
That type of layout is, to be honest with you, ridiculous and extremely unfair to what Oregon did to Penn State, which if Oregon lost that game to Penn State, they would have been better off in the college football playoff with playing SMU and Boise State, two formerly mid-majors or group of five teams, as said in the college football parts. So, yeah, I'm in support of the reseeding model 100%. I think it's good for the game of college football.
And also, when you're talking about a neutral site playoff,
yeah,
like obviously, you know, if Texas is playing on a quote unquote neutral site in Texas, even though it's not a Texas, you know, stadium,
yeah,
then it's for all intents and purposes not a neutral site. But that regardless,
yeah.
But if you go to a neutral site and what the idea is, then if that's the case, then I don't necessarily need you to have like I think at that point, then there is. Like, it's not like, you know, the Seattle Seahawks hosting a game. There's a clear advantage there.
Yeah.
It's not like the Denver Broncos or Denver Nuggets hosting a game where there is an altitude advantage there that the home team is used to that the other team would have to deal with and have where I think if it's at a neutral site thing, then what you should is have comparative, you know, talent to where you are meriting based off of how you did in the regular season. Like, I can agree with that.
So you're talking to someone that's incredibly traditionalist with college football. Very personal to me. I believe every single playoff game should be played at a home team at a home venue until the national championship, which should every year be played at the Rose Bowl.
Wow.
Yeah, I
That is
fully
traditional.
believe that. Very traditional.
And do you also believe that, you know, we should all be crouched off in the woods and not have these gosh darn new confounded inventions named toilets? You know, like how traditional are you to the SEC? I'm just curious.
So I'm quite traditional. To be fair, the SEC was invented in Knoxville, Tennessee. Founded right on my old.
Lest we forget.
Right on my old stomping grounds.
All right. Okay. So we are late, horrendously late for a break.
That
we
we
will
are.
come back and talk a little bit more NBA basketball. We'll see if we can get to some college sports as well. It's the Daily Blender on 1580 AM, The Fanatic.
Miss any part of the Daily Blender? Download the free podcast at 1580thefanatic.com.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com, sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Arizona. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342. T&Cs apply. Available in app only.
It's back. The third annual Fire and Fairways Charity Golf Tournament presented by Kasai Japanese Steakhouse. It's Monday, June 2nd at Biltmore Golf Club. This year supporting Alice Cooper's Solid Rock Teen Centers. Early entry is just $175 and includes goodie bag, raffle tickets, plus a fabulous after golf celebration, lunch buffet, and drinks at Kasai Japanese Steakhouse in Scottsdale. You don't golf? Well, then join us at the celebration for just $75. Sign up today. Go to KasaiFireandFairways.com. That's KasaiFireandFairways.com.
It's time to make your yard the best on the block with Memorial Day savings at the Home Depot. Start by keeping the weeds at bay with Earthgrow mulch, now 4 for $10. Then keep your garden thriving with Miracle Grow garden soil, now on special buy, 4 for $10. Give your neighbors yard envy all summer long with Memorial Day savings going on now at the Home Depot.
The success you've already had matters at University of Maryland Global Campus because we're a school for real life. An accredited state university, UMGC lets you earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning, life, and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. We offer affordable tuition and online and hybrid courses. No application fee if you apply by May 30th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
When life gets overwhelming, but you just don't feel like talking,
Help is only a text away. Trained and caring crisis specialists are available by text 24/7 to assist with suicidal thoughts, substance use issues, depression, anxiety, and more. You are never alone. When you need help, please text HOPE to 4HOPE. From anywhere in Arizona, text the word HOPE to 44673. This message is sponsored by Solari Crisis and Human Services.
The Rich Eisen Show.
The draft lottery itself is the problem because their anti-tanking formula to give the three worst records the same chance of winning the number one overall pick, 14%. What it does is it doesn't allow the Wizards, Jazz, or Hornets to get the top three picks in the NBA draft. The best odds didn't even put them in the top three. So what are we doing?
The Rich Eisen Show. Weekdays at 9 a.m. on 1580. The Fanatic.
Hey, the Daily Blender on 1580 AM, The Fanatic. Here, of course, with Filthy Phil the fill-in and Triple H over there in the control room, turning the tunes, yelling in the background. Hey,
Phil, that was smooth. Oh, that was smooth. Wow. He's a professional, folks.
All right, let's clean up the text line here. As Jeffrey mentions from time to time, sometimes it doesn't refresh, and then so we've got a metric shload of text here that I need to clean up here. From Swazman, Phil, you're right. From an earlier conversation we had, you're right. Jim Irsay saying "Comfortably Numb" from Pink Floyd that he thought he was Roger Waters, but only Roger Waters is Roger Waters. I completely agree. Sometimes this is like whenever we go to karaoke. And there's
oh yeah,
every single time without fail, there's some group of guys who think it's funny to sign up Jim over in the corner to sing "My Heart Will Go On" from Celine Dion. Ha ha ha. It's funny because we all say, "Oh, Jim, you gotta sing it, Jim, you gotta sing it." And then all of a sudden Jim goes up there and sings it, and it's funny for all of at most 30 seconds. And then you realize, and everybody realizes collectively, Jim is up here for like 5 minutes singing Celine Dion. My Heart Will Go On. So
are you Jim?
I'm not Jim. No, kidding me? I'd be Jimbo Fisher if I was Jim because I could nail that song if I needed to. So no.
Could I.
Definitely not. Jim Irsay was very much a rock and roll Hall of Fame guy. So we'll see. Rocky Top has a very clever message that I cannot read, but he does say I could listen to Harris talk all day about football. Amongst other things.
Oh, Rocky Top, I appreciate that, man.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
Firefighter on the text line saying, Harris, you are dating an Argentinian? You dirty dog, you.
I am not dating an Argentinian. She is fluent in Spanish. I will say that. I have tried, Phil. I've tried to be.
She's fluent in Spanish?
She's fluent, yeah.
Oh, papi. Okay.
Yep. I mean, I didn't know you were fluent either, Phil.
Muy pequeño.
See.
2863 as we clean out the text line here. Oh, Harris, your SEC bias is showing. You need to keep this fair. Alabama had no business being in the playoffs last year. It certainly wasn't just Harris. I was the one who kind of spurred him on that one.
Yeah, Phil was bringing the thrill there.
Absolutely. Look, if we're talking about number 12, the 12th seed, I think we can all agree that whether or not Harris is correct on whether or not 6 is it, whatever. It's not like we can have 9 teams being there. You need to have an even number in order to make a playoff work, right?
Yep.
For seeding.
Yep.
So if we're not working in that reality, once we get to number 12 does not have a chance in hell of winning a championship, no matter what seed it is. Like if we go to whoever the 12th team was in ranking the NBA playoffs teams contender, it was probably like Houston. Like I'd have to like go down and actually like look at a list of them. But like if you look at it, it's like number 12 does not have a realistic shot of winning a championship. So when we get to that point of who is number 12, who is the last one in, I would much rather go in with a well-known high ceiling, possible for a fun upset, fun for discussions about historic rivalries and everything else with Alabama and Caitlin DeBoer first year, Jalen Milroe going to be drafted in the NFL and has high mobility. I'd much rather have that versatility and that volatility in the field rather than an Iowa State or I guess SMU won or whatever, but like have them. And there were the discussions that they had as to who was going to be that number 12 seed. It just felt to me like it should be Alabama. And the only reason why it wasn't was because of SEC fatigue.
Well, Phil, it's a matter of what you prefer, right? Alabama and SMU both had flaws in their resumes. Alabama's flaw being they blew a bad Oklahoma game. And that Oklahoma team had no business beating Alabama. They're one of the worst offenses in the country of college football. You saw them flame out against Navy in their bowl game. So they lost that. They have a bad loss. SMU, on the other hand, had no big wins. SMU didn't beat anybody. They had their chances too against BYU and against Clemson. They botched them last year. Well, they were close, but nonetheless, no meat on the bone for SMU. Alabama has the bone and not the meat. That's what I'll say.
You know, that has got to be the first time that Alabama has ever been compared to a bone. But yes.
My mistake. Alabama has the meat and not the bone, I should say, to elaborate on that. That being said, it's a matter of which one you prefer. And what do you have to do when you get to the college football playoff? You don't play bad teams. You play against good teams, which Alabama has shown a better resume of doing than SMU. Therefore, I believe they should have been in. When you go into a job interview and you apply, right?
Yeah.
Alabama, if you're applying to the college football playoff and what the job takes in the college football playoff, which is to compete and play against the big boys, they meet that requirement because of what they did in the regular season. They had good wins. South Carolina was a good win. Georgia was a good win. SMU did not meet that requirement.
Alabama was such a weird team in that
Very
they
weird
had very good wins.
Yeah.
But they had really bad losses. Like, it wasn't even just like, oh,
Yeah.
you lost to, like, had they reversed, had they lost to some of those
Vanderbilt
really good
was
wins,
bad.
Yeah, Vanderbilt was an atrocious loss.
Yeah.
Like, they should not have lost in any realm of the possibility. And
The fact that
Jonesy's-
that happened is crazy.
Jonesy's on the text line here, kind of making this case here.
Okay.
Bill, it's not about how well the 12 seed will do. It's about who deserves it.
Mhm.
Everyone and their mother beat Bama last year. Oklahoma beat them. I'm an OU fan, but we were terrible last year. Whistling Gerbil on the text line. Bama would have been a 30-point favorite versus SMU. My goodness. Like,
would have been about an 8 to 10 point favorite.
Yeah, but especially
But I see your
because,
point,
because of the style that SMU played, they were much
Mhm.
more defensive and like run the ball. So
Yeah.
but that being said, I deserve when we're talking about like a number 12 thing. Also, it's not like it's equitable. They're not equitable situations. Like
Yeah.
SMU won its conference. Okay, so it deserves to be in.
Yeah.
Winning that conference, the ACC, is not the same as deserving. Like, because you came in second place in the SEC. Like, it's like, yes, if you win the SEC, you do deserve to get in
Yeah.
because that is actually an achievement. That is an accomplishment. If you win the Big Ten, that is an achievement. That is an accomplishment. Big 12, that is an achievement, an accomplishment. But if you come in second in the SEC, chances are you would have won one of the other two conferences had you been in there all season long. So deserve is so relative and subjective in the current context that we're talking about in college
Yeah.
sports.
Yeah. Phil, I'll say this. Clemson getting in over South Carolina last year shows that the criteria needs to be fixed.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because Clemson and South Carolina had the same record. Carolina played a harder schedule, and Carolina beat Clemson on the road in Clemson's house on the last week of the season. And Clemson gets in. What kind of world is that a criteria? And that is an adequate criteria. So in a perfect world, and in Harris world, we'll call it, I don't believe that Alabama should have gotten in. I don't believe that SMU should have gotten in. I believe that the playoffs should be 6 teams so the regular season doesn't lose its matter. That's what makes college football so great, Phil, is it's March Madness every single week. And when we go to the 12-team college football playoff, and we'll get to this too, because college football, there's talks of expanding it to 16.
No!
Isn't it terrible? You're losing the beautiful element of college football, Phil. And last week of the season, okay, Ohio State plays Michigan. Ohio State gets their butts kicked. They lose to Michigan. They score 10 points at home. Michigan wins their first horrendous loss. Michigan wins their first road game of the whole season at Ohio State. That should be it. Your regular season should be over. After that, like Tennessee, I'm a Tennessee fan, and I admit it. Tennessee had no business getting in the playoff because of what they did in losing to Arkansas. You can't lose to Arkansas, a team that lost to Oklahoma State, team that won 6 games, and expect to get in. And they had another loss too against Georgia. Albeit, Phil, the regular season is what makes college football great, not the playoff. And all these people, honestly, I call it the corporate football playoff because all these corporations are getting their sleazy hands on it saying, ooh, this is how much money we can make out of this if we make more and more games, more and more games. Well, college football is going to lose the beauty of its charm, which is the regular season. That's my point.
Well, and also I think the biggest sin is that you would be removing a major element of what makes football in general usually so great.
Yeah.
But what has made college football also
Yeah.
at least competitive against the NFL, and that the regular season matters. Now,
much.
where I think it had its faults is
Yeah.
that the NFL, there's only 32 teams.
Mhm.
And because of that, even though every game does matter,
Yeah.
it's a majority of the teams are going to be making the playoffs. So it's like, yes, it matters, but it matters towards like you getting a bye, right? Like there's still
Yeah.
like incentives to like how well you
Sure.
do. As opposed to in college football, it did feel off-putting that only 2 out of like 130 like Division One teams, it's like one loss and your season's done. Like
Mhm.
that felt a little bit too dramatic.
Yeah.
But if we start getting into 16, where it's like, okay, now we can start discussing like,
Yeah.
what about like a really good 4-loss team? Like
Oh,
and I'm
goodness
like,
gracious,
no,
you're ruining
no,
the whole
I do
meaning
not
of the
want.
sport.
I want a compromise to
Yep.
where we can have a debate on a 3-loss team, and that's where it is. And then they're like, they get the worst path of all history. Like I'm fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fine with that, and I'm not losing any sleep over Alabama not making it. Make no bones or no mistake about that.
Yeah, nor am I. Heck.
Yes, absolutely. So look, let's go to a break here. On the words of the moist one who texts in, has the bone and not the meat. Thank you, Harris, for the perfect quote to use as I object to my ex-girlfriend's wedding this weekend. Thank you, moist one.
Oh,
as
that's
ever,
so funny.
for being a Hall of Famer. We appreciate it.
He's
Here
a
on-
Hall of Fame texter, dude. He brings his A game every single day.
No days off for him.
No days off.
Here on the Daily Blender on 1580 AM, The Fanatic.
The Daily Blender is streamed live on YouTube. Search 1580 The Fanatic to watch.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
Let's see, if something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it, that sounds like something to look into. And that's MetaShare. Maybe you've heard joining MetaShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month. And that's huge, but it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MetaShare works too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care, whether you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan that you're happy with. Here you go. You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. It's 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE. 855-51-BIBLE.
Not another one.
26-year-old male wasn't wearing a seatbelt.
How's the driver in the other vehicle?
Yeah, thankfully she's okay. She had her seatbelt on.
It's really sad. You know, these tragedies are entirely preventable.
It said click it or ticket, but for some, they should be so lucky. Besides getting a ticket or a fine, the consequences could take your life. So don't risk it. Click it or ticket. This message is brought to you by NHTSA.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, and it's no surprise. Same game parlay from Bet365 just keeps getting better.
Well, it's even easier to make a bet. Choose from the most popular markets like hits, run line, totals, and home runs. So many to choose from.
Download the app, start building your bet, and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Arizona. T&Cs apply.
My name is Mary Grace. There are a few misconceptions about Alzheimer's. It's not just memory loss. It's the loss of mobility, the risk of falling.
For more information, contact the Alzheimer's Association at alz.org. Sponsored by the Alzheimer's Association.
Never again will you have to say, I missed that segment. I'm such a dinkus.
He's so lame.
Never miss an important segment, favorite host, or show again. Check out our podcast and listen whenever and wherever you want.
It's the reason Al Gore invented the internet.
Follow us on Facebook or Twitter or at 1580thefanatic.com.
It's the Daily Blender here on 1580 AM The Fanatic, as we are looking at 5:40 p.m. here, Mountain Standard Time. And we're looking at the tip-off here at the NBA playoff. Oklahoma City Thunder MVP, newly crowned. They just did the whole procedure.
Oh, did they?
The whole parade. They darned it. I think there was confetti. I'm kidding. But it looks like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in front of his home crowd here ahead of a game 2 was able to receive his MVP award from Commissioner Beaker on the Oklahoma City Thunder court. So now,
Congrats, SGA.
Congrats, SGA.
Congrats.
I see. I'm not. I try my best to not be a petty person, Harris.
Yes, Phil.
That doesn't mean that I don't kind of like to watch it.
Okay.
So with that said, I do think that there was a missed opportunity from the NBA to have awarded SGA the MVP award in front of Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets.
Right
from the
after
runner-up.
the game 7.
Or not right after. No, that would have been extremely
That
petty.
would have been
That would have been
nuts.
excessively petty. No, I would have said
You like that idea, though.
leading up to like a game. Well, maybe not a game 7. You wouldn't do it on a game 7, but you would do it on like game 5.
Like, oh, nice win, SGA. Oh, here's your MVP.
Yeah, exactly. Probably
Yeah.
game. I mean, same spot as they are here now in game 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that would have been something that I would have enjoyed to see. Feels like a missed opportunity, but SGA winning his NBA MVP. We discussed that earlier in the show. The one other thing that the NBA had that was an interesting, pardon the pun, nugget coming out of this out of today is that
Love
the Denver Nuggets promote coach David Adelman to their head coach status, removing the interim tag. And I got to say,
let's hear it.
It's an interesting trend in the NBA that's been almost specifically to this season, where they'll fire a guy midseason. And I think it's happened now 3 times. I'm pretty sure the Memphis Grizzlies removed the interim tag, made their guy head coach.
Yeah.
Now the Nuggets are doing it with their guy. I'm trying to remember. There was one other team that did it, and it feels like they made him the main guy.
Oh my goodness.
I'm pretty sure that there's one more.
Oh my goodness. I
That's
can't
on me.
remember.
But
Look it up.
David Adelman is now the official head coach for the Denver Nuggets, and I'm fine with this. Like, I feel like he feels like he was being groomed to be the next head coach candidate. Like, there were rumors that he was already taking interviews and he was gearing up to take interviews for head coaching positions across the league this offseason prior to Malone's firing. Then once he did get fired, they kind of wanted to see how it worked out. And the one thing that I don't necessarily think is a good harbinger of things to come is that Nikola Jokic seemed to be, in an impressive stature, a coach on the floor. And not just a person that was orchestrating the offense. There's a thin differentiating line, but it was clear for me to where years past, you knew who was running the entire organization, the entire show.
Yeah.
Coach Malone was barking his way to the top spot,
That's
and
right.
then everything else. Everybody else was underneath.
Yeah.
In this playoff run, and granted, it's a small sample size. So, I mean, and plus his first head coaching job. So we don't know necessarily if this is, if he will act differently without the interim tag on it, as opposed to actually being the head coach in paper and contract as well.
Yeah.
He seemed to be, David Adelman, seemed to be a little more off to the side, be a little bit more of allowing of the players to almost coach themselves. Certainly Nikola Jokic, who was certainly more demanding of players. It seemed more vocal here than Coach Malone. And I wonder if this is the fool's errand that many people fall into across sports, to where, okay, this guy didn't work. What's the opposite of him? And let's hire him. And it works in both ways, whether it's an offensive coach you fired. Now let's go to a defensive guy.
this guy was a barker. Let's go to a cool Pete Carroll guy who's just like, oh yeah, hey guys, he looks like our famous like hippie stepdad, like
Right.
that's
Embodies USC.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, do you think of this as like a positive trend of where like the interim guy just gets elevated to the head coach and that succeeds? Like I think the best position of this was like Ty Lue, and that's about
Yeah.
it.
He must have really gotten along with the players. That's what that tells me. Like
Mm.
him and Jokic must be really cool with each other. And look, I mean, David Adelman his dad was an amazing coach. He was a coach of those Kings teams that you could say should have won a title at Tim Donaghy, wink, wink. But it is an interesting trend, Phil. It's very interesting. Maybe the Nuggets are trying to get some sort of consistency because I mentioned this a couple days ago. What do all of these 4 teams have in common?
The 4 final teams in the NBA playoffs.
Yep. What do they all have in common?
They all play basketball.
Close.
Close. Okay, let me a little more specific. They all sell
specific.
concessions in the stands.
Oh,
No.
very good. Okay. I'll tell you. But you're right. You're right on both of those. As usual, Phil. As usual.
I am something of a genius.
Yeah, that's right. They all 4 have coaches who have been there for 4+ years. So there's a consistency. David Adelman's been an assistant in Denver for a little bit. So they want to continue perhaps that consistency because all 4 of these teams have a system. Maybe Denver's front office management was thinking, we don't want to get rid of the system we have in place. We just need a new commander in chief. That's it. That's what I assume is going on with this trend. So there are times when I like it. There are times when I don't. I lean towards yes.
In this case, you do like
In this case, I do like it because I think all coaches need is time. One of the most underrated virtues in sports nowadays, with everything going on, is patience.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I very rarely find it to be, especially in sports where you have all these resources, you have all these, all the funds that you would need.
Yeah.
I find it very disheartening whenever a team just looks within, right? Like I look at the Detroit Lions, where they had 2 head coaching candidate worthy coaches on their staff in the form of Aaron Glenn as the defensive coordinator, and Ben Johnson, yes, as the offensive coordinator, both of whom got hired away this year. And what do they do to replace them? They go within. They go and say, let's promote from within. And on the one hand, you'd like that, right? Like if we're working at Procter and Gamble, right, and we're just over there like making our hay, we're a company man, we're working at, like, yes, there can be some sort of form of deserve it. They know the ins and the outs. They know, yes, this and that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But in a competitive arena such as sports, and it's like, I don't care like how much loyalty it is there, and it's an inherent disloyal service whenever you're talking about trading away players, cutting players, and all this stuff.
Right.
I think that should apply to coaches too, to where it's like, I don't want to just hire the guy who's going to steady the boat. I want the best candidate. I want, if we're looking at the NFL, like I want my Sean McVay, somebody who's not associated with the organization or the LA Rams whatsoever, and is going to be the next big thing. I want the next Pete Carroll. I don't want the guy underneath Pete Carroll and Steve Sarkisian. I don't want the next guy in. Yeah. And like whenever you look at his tree over at USC, and it was just like, hey, let's pluck from the Pete Carroll tree yet again. Let's just go get. Look at Alabama. They got Kalen DeBoer, the best coaching candidate that was there,
right?
Because they even though he's like not a lot like Nick Saban. Saban's
like
the showman, the competitor. He's like the perfect college head
defensive coach as well.
Defensive savant.
Yeah. DeBoer is former D2 college offensive genius.
Yeah,
complete opposite.
Yeah, I find that to be much more of a like. I at least have a stab in the dark of long-term success.
Yeah.
Then what this shows to me is like, this guy is being hired to be fired here as soon as like the culture that Malone bred within the locker room and the organization, once that has waned, and once that's like, oh, he's actually gone, we're not going to be held to the exact same standard, and this guy is no longer just like the nice, refreshing cool of air. He is just our day in and day out guy that maybe we do or don't respect him. I don't know. It just feels to me as if like this was something that was done to appease the now, as opposed to looking towards the long-term future. And I think having the best player in the league right now merits and deserves your best shot, whether that be getting a better roster and demanding more from the roster that you have, and getting the best player in free agency, whether it be or getting the best player that could be acquired, whether that is in this form, getting the best NBA head coach that you possibly could. Now, if they think that somehow it fortuitously was the guy from within, I guess, I'm wrong, but I don't know. It just felt like to me, it felt like to me that it was just an uninspiring move.
Sure. Phil, I'll say this. I like it better at the pro level than the college level, at least. The pro level, in Denver's case, you have to look at this. Don't put this in a vacuum. You got to look at Denver's case by here. And they've won a championship with this system. There's familiarity there with Adelman towards the players, and they've been darn good while doing it. It's not like they've been bad and they just tried to hire someone from within just because they wanted to keep it within the family. No. Now at the college level, there are times where this can bite people in the butt. Like, I mean, I'm not going to get too off topic here, but North Carolina with Hubert Davis and Syracuse and their basketball, look what's happened to them, and Georgetown and St. John's with Chris Mull. I could go on, keeping it within the family, quote, quote. There's a lot of instances where it hasn't worked out. That being said, this is one of the few where I actually lean towards yes and say this could be a good move, because I think the way that you play by Nikola Jokic is a complicated system. For NBA standards, a complicated system. It's not like you have one guy like a bunch of other teams, Houston Rockets style, late 2010s, where you've got one guy in ISO and then four guys spacing the floor in case he gets something off the dribble, causes the help defender to crash and freeze an open guy from three.
Right.
You've got Jokic operating from the top of the key, like honestly the sun, and you've got everyone else moving around him like the solar system, if you will. And you've got to be moving at all times. You've got to know when to cut. You've got to know when to set a screen. You've got to know when to flag, all of this stuff can be complicated. And the system has worked for them. And Adelman has been a decent big part of that. So that being said, this is one of the very few hiring within situations that I support. And usually, Phil, you will catch me being on the opposite end of this, but not this one.
All right. Well, speaking of NBA news, one more thing here, as we saw a tremendous beginning to a New York series. Charles Barkley was on there lobbying for Tyrese Halliburton's dad to be able to attend games 3 and 4 after he has been banned from in the previous series due to his how do I put this, contentious behavior to Giannis Antetokounmpo, to going forehead to forehead with Giannis Antetokounmpo.
That is wild.
I don't know. There's very few humans in this world that could go and just back down Giannis Antetokounmpo. Tyrese Halliburton's dad is not one of them.
No,
Harris.
No, he's not,
and certainly an embarrassment to himself as well as his son, stealing from his moment. We had that discussion at the time. Look, I feel as if a lot of what sports provides people is a privilege. Like, it is a privilege to be able to go and watch your son and probably superstar comped seats.
You sound just like Jeffrey right now.
I'm sure I do. Like, on this one, we are lockstep. It is a privilege that is not entitled. Like, you have the ability to stay at home in your lazy boy furniture and clap just as hard as you want to, talk trash to everybody you want to at home while watching the TV, just like a millions other of NBA fans all across the globe, myself included. But you are not entitled to go there and be at the thing, especially when you have shown. Look, Harris, your dad is an avid texter on the text line.
Yes.
He contributes to the show time and time again.
He does.
If he were to come in here right now, burst down the door and say, "You made fun of my son's mustache and not respecting his Argentinian girlfriend," I would, and he like forehead to forehead bumps me.
Yeah.
And we're now having a rhinoceros, a horn lock against each other. Yeah, far be it from me to cry,
Phil, you
tears.
would curl up in a ball and you wouldn't know what to do with yourself.
Oh yeah, because
you don't know
I hurt him so bad. I know.
Yeah.
But far be it from me to be crying and sobbing and weeping tears of absolute sad and think of like now he doesn't get to see his son. Forgive me if I'm bereft of those, because he made his own bed in it. Like, nobody's saying Karl Anthony Towns' mother can't join the side of the Madison Square Garden faithful because she hasn't done anything to out herself as a ruly and a disruptive fan. Like, forgive me, like you've lost that ability.
I I want to agree with you, but man, it's father and son. There's just something that just kind of takes over. My dad used to get ejected from my games, by the way, when I was a kid.
You are working in a very dangerous line of fire for Moist One, but continue.
Oh no. Am I really? I don't even recognize it. Well, that's what the fourth dimension's for. So, I want to be in lockstep with allowing him to go back to the games. But man, yeah, getting in a player's face. I mean, imagine if they allowed him back, the kind of message that would send. But also, I'm really 50-50 on this, Phil. I can't seem to pick because I would love to see him back rooting for his son, and that would be super hard to not be able to go to that. But at the same time, yeah, he got face-to-face with an NBA player in the middle of a game.
That Giannis could have pushed him forward with his forefinger and then just smushed him.
Oh, he could have just stepped on him. Yes. You kidding?
All right, so we are near the end of the show. Sorry, Big George. No, this day in Big George's Day of Sports History. My apologies. We will get to that as soon as we can on the next episode tomorrow. Yes,
that's right.
But yes, as we close out this show, it's been a lot of fun. I think we are both on the 7.5 for the Thunder.
Yep.
For the Minnesota Timberwolves to have any shot, they need to win this game. We do not think it will happen, but so be it. So be it.
Yep.
All right. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Daily Blender. No Jeffrey O'Brien, but he will be back soon, and hopefully so will we. We'll talk to you next time.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40, and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-694-1010. That's 1-800-694-1010. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. 1-800-694-1010. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
The success you've already had matters at University of Maryland Global Campus because we're a school for real life. An accredited state university, UMGC lets you earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning, life, and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. We offer affordable tuition and online and hybrid courses. No application fee if you apply by May 30th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Life is full of bright moments, but sometimes those moments can seem too far away. Trained and caring crisis specialists in Arizona can assist you with any situation, big or small. Free and confidential help is only one text away, day or night. Text the word HOPE to 4HOPE. That's HOPE to 44673. These moments matter, and so do you. This message is sponsored by Solari Crisis and Human Services.
Your best plan to retire might be right under your roof. This is Rob Canyer, and for over 20 years, I've helped people discover how they can utilize a portion of their equity in their home as a coordinated strategy in retirement planning, thus creating additional monthly cash flow, paying less taxes, and making their retirement assets last longer. This is a safe and proven retirement strategy for qualified homeowners aged 62 and older. All you have to do is reverse your thinking. Call me, Reverse Rob, to learn more at 602-REVERSE. That's 602-738-3773.
KQFN Tempe. Also transmitting on K257CD Phoenix at 99.3 FM and K240 EU Mountain Hills at 95.9 FM.
This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.